here with bringing in another great assistant coach from Nevada.
That's why we have a top 15 matchup today. As we look at our players to watch for Vanderbilt, it all starts with Enrique Bradfield Jr., the All-American, back for Vandy this year, an incredibly special player. Why is he so elite, Pat?
Oh, man, one of the premier defensive center fielders in all of college baseball. But what makes him elite is he understands the game. He's got a great approach. That speed is incredible. When you watch him get on the base paths, he creates havoc, and he is the catalyst in that Vanderbilt lineup. When he gets on base, good things happen for Vandy's offense.
He led the SEC in stolen bases a season ago, anchoring center field for Vanderbilt. Meanwhile, TCU has an All-American of their own coming into this year in third baseman Braden Taylor.
Yeah, Kirk Sarlos knew when he recruited Braden Taylor, there was something special about this young man. And boy, he has just done nothing but improve as he's gotten to TCU. It's that great work ethic has really translated to big power numbers and consistency at the plate. His 13 home runs last year led the Frogs, and he looks to build on that success. He is a huge part of that TCU lineup. He'll bat third. We should see him in that spot most of the year.
I hit a home run in each of the final three games for the regional for TCU. Meanwhile, it's time for our keys to the game, and experience going to play a big factor, Pat, especially for this Vanderbilt team.
Yeah, there's no doubt when Enrique Bradfield Jr. gets on base, the Vanderbilt offense rolls, and that'll be the key for him today, getting things started offensively. Carter Holton, just build upon that continued success. Boy, Tim Corbett knows what he gets when he puts Carter Holton on the mound. Just wants to see more of the same this season.
Meanwhile, on the TCU side, obviously looking to build off a very successful 2022.
Yeah, and that team speed is really what puts pressure on defenses. And Kirk Sarlos, when he fills out that order, he loves athletic players, and they do a great job of really putting pressure on defenses. Of course, Ryan Vanderhei, the TCU starting pitcher, that's the big question mark. All the stuff is there. Can he put it together and really be that Friday night starter that Kirk Sarlos is looking for?
A lot of questions to be answered, and that's what makes it fun. Opening weekend of college baseball, as Bradfield will lead off for the Commodores with Matthew Polk and R.J. Schreck. Schreck, a grad transfer coming in from Duke, rounding out the top three in the order. Then it's Calvin Hewitt, Parker Noland, and R.J. Austin, with Jonathan Bastine, Jack Bulger, and Davis Diaz running out the starting lineup for Vanderbilt. If there's one question that has to be asked for Vandy coming into this year, how much consistency will there be, Pat, behind a guy in Bradfield Jr., with a lot of newcomers into that lineup this year for Tim Corbett? Meanwhile, on the pitching side for TCU, so many big-name pitchers in the transfer portal this past summer. One of them was Ryan Vanderhei. Stays in the Big 12, goes from Kansas to TCU, and the righty makes his first start as a member of the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, he is very talented. As you mentioned, came over from Kansas, and that was a big get for Kirk Sarlos and the Horned Frogs. He had 83 strikeouts and 43 walks last season. Now, the ERA was a little bit elevated at 6.45. He just needs to be more consistent. That's one thing that Coach Sarlos worked with him in this past fall, just really relying more on filling up that strike zone, getting that changeup into the zone as well. Fastball is electric, up to 97, 98 miles an hour is what you'll see from Vanderhei.
And what a way to begin your career with a new team if you're Ryan Vanderhei, facing one of the, some scouts call him the best player in college baseball entering 2023, Enrique Bradfield Jr. And that's how we get things started. Game number 2 of 3 on a Friday from Arlington at Globe Life Field. Thanks so much for joining us on Flow Sports. Vanderhei is ready, and we're underway with a bunt attempt, popped foul right behind the catcher, with Bradfield Jr., somebody who stole all 46 bases he attempted a season ago, and is at least was a few shy, and a lot of people think he is in position to surpass the all-time single season record, which is 51 stolen bases in Vanderbilt team history.
Yeah, that's an amazing stat. I mean, a 43 of 43. I mean, not even getting picked off. That's just amazing for a base runner, but that elite speed just plays so well, and it's going to be tough to get that out.
Right away, high chopper on the infield, but a great play made. Braden Taylor, it's key to the game against key to the game, at least when you look at the star players. Patton Taylor makes a nice play on a short hop.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Braden Taylor, we know his offensive prowess, but how about the defensive skills? Flashing some leather early on. You can see him playing up on the grass, expecting bunt. That high chopper, he had to get rid of it quick. Good transition in between the glove and his hand. Made for a clean play and out number 1.
Brings up Matthew Polk for Vanderbilt. A Commodores team that averaged just shy of 7 runs a game last year. They were 8th out of 14 teams in the SEC. And as he fouls one hard off of his foot, that is a dead ball, and you could hear that up here. So Polk will get some time to try to walk that out. But with the offensive numbers being average to slightly above average in the SEC, on paper Vanderbilt looks like an absolutely elite pitching staff. It's all about how will the hitters behind Bradfield come around and produce this year. And Polk, a big part of that, as he's moving into the 2-hole as a first-year starter.
And a slider from Vanderhei, and Polk holds up his swing.
He only got 7 starts, excuse me, in 24 games for Matthew Polk. Only 36 at-bats as he steps up into a much bigger role and swings through that sinking fastball moving down in the zone. And this is the first ever start at Globe Life Field for Ryan Vanderhei. His Kansas Jayhawks were the only team who did not qualify for last year's Big 12 tournament at this ballpark. Swing and a miss on 1-2. Brilliant start for Vanderhei.
A nice slider down and away. And, you know, with 2 strikes against Vanderhei, you've got to protect against that fastball. We talked about that mid-90s, high 90s fastball. That slider's a nasty pitch and starts on the outside corner, dips down and away from Polk. And great start for Vanderhei.
You mentioned how command and consistency, Pat, such a key for Vanderhei. 64 walks last year and a little over 106 innings. Did strike out 108 in his overall time, 3 years as a member of the Jayhawks in Lawrence, Kansas. So just looking for a little more command, and early it's been spot on as he faces R.J. Schreck, who makes his Vanderbilt debut today.
Yeah, Schreck, one of those players that Tim Corbin is going to count on to fill the gaps in the middle of that Vanderbilt lineup that were left by guys like Spencer Jones, Dominic Keegan, Javier Vaz. All 3 of those players, elite players with great batting averages. A lot of production came from them, and that's where Vanderbilt's going to be tested and challenged, is can you find the right guys to fill into that middle of that Vanderbilt lineup.
Schreck with a high fly ball as he gets under it into shallow right field. Austin Davis coming in. Instead, Trey Richardson makes the call on the catch. 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Vanderhei, beginning his TCU career in a very positive way. It's the Horned Frogs coming to the plate for the first time. We'll set the stage for you when we return, just getting started from Arlington.
Lines this one deep down the left field line, and that ball is gone. This ball is hit a long way.
Back, and it is gone. Bradfield's on the run, and he got it. Lucky number 13 for Halton. He's back, and it is gone.
And here comes Bradfield. He will score the tying run.
The Vandy boys walk it off.
Back in Arlington at Globe Life Field, TCU with new pitcher Ryan Vanderhei gets a 1-2-3 inning for Vanderbilt. Now it's time to watch Carter Holton go to work, the freshman All-American from a year ago. Now in a sophomore, Pat, provides a big punch even in his somewhat small 5'11" frame.
Yeah, he is described by head coach Tim Corbin as a pure gamer. Got a little bit of old school makeup with him as well. He calls him a 70s throwback pitcher. That'll be fun to talk about as we go along.
Faces a very stout TCU lineup that was 5th in the Big 12 last year, over 7 runs a game, drew a lot of walks as well. They were 2nd in walks, 3rd in stolen bases, and it starts with speed at the top. Austin Davis, a grad transfer from West Virginia, begins things for TCU with Elijah Nunez and Braden Taylor going 1-2-3. Curtis Byrne, David Bishop, and Luke Boyers are in the middle of the order with Cole Fontenelle, one of 7 transfers coming in. Fontenelle, a big JUCO product out of McLennan in the state of Texas, with Trey Richardson transferring in from Baylor, staying within the conference, and Anthony Silva rounding out the starting lineup. Now Holton 8-4 with a 3.14 ERA a season ago in 15 starts, and tied for the SEC lead with 2 complete games. Is also third, allowing under 6.5 hits per 9 innings. Top 20 in the country. Not bad for a freshman.
Yeah, outstanding freshman season, and then Carter Holton just looking to continue that progress, that success he had as a freshman. Of course, the summer didn't hurt him at all. Experienced playing for the USA team, and headed out there with his pitching coach, Coach Brown, and he and Scott Brown. Brownie just has done a great job with these young Vanderbilt pitchers. Carter Holton, another one of those guys.
Holton's first offering misses, just low and out of the zone. And Holton teammates with Enrique Bradfield Jr. along with his pitching coach Scott Brown coming along as part of that U.S. Collegiate National team. Now, he had never traveled further than Texas before moving to Nashville for school. Carter Holton, here he is back in the Southwest from Georgia. So a lot of travel ball tournaments in Georgia, Texas areas growing up. As he is behind in the count 2-1 to Austin Davis, leadoff hitter for the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, you mentioned only 5'11" is his stature, but ball really jumps out of his hand well. His fastball sits low 90s to he'll get to 95 at times. Really, it's the secondary offerings that are great pitches. He just pounds the strike zone, has a great complement to his heater. Good curveball and changeup. 3-pitched repertoire for Carter Holton.
And is in a good battle right away with Austin Davis, making his Horned Frog debut. But no stranger to the Big 12 and playing in this venue as a member of the Mountaineers. Pop up on the infield. It's the pitcher Holton who calls for it, makes the catch in foul territory, saying, "Yeah, I can do anything. I don't have to just be a pitcher. I can field as well."
That's what you love to see. Athletic pitcher bounce off the mound, taking charge, and he tells Parker Nolan, "Hey, I got this." It was really one of those in-between pop-ups. He wasn't sure if Nolan was going to be able to get there, but Carter Holton takes charge out there and records the first out. You don't have to write F1 very often. But,
no, you do not. That is true. As Holton gets off to a good start, now facing Elijah Nunez. Now Holton, a projected first-round draft pick in 2024 once he is eligible, but finished the year 4 straight quality starts and was on an absolute tear to end the season for Vanderbilt. He wasn't the reason why the Commodores came up short in the regional. I mean, he did everything to put Vandy in a position to advance. Back up the middle from Nunez and through. Horned Frogs with their first hit of the day. It comes with the junior Elijah Nunez, a third-year starter for Kirk Saarloos and TCU.
Yeah, Elijah Nunez, one of those exciting young players that, again, been around the program for a couple of years and has been very productive. Exactly right. Ben stepped into the lineup as a freshman, batted leadoff almost the entire season that year. He is one of the, again, key catalysts at the top of that TCU lineup with a lot of speed.
And Nunez had such a good eye. Last year was 8th in the country in walks and led the team 31 stolen bases. So while all the talk on the Vandy side is Enrique Bradfield Jr.'s prolific speed on the base pass, TCU has a pretty good one in Nunez, who was 31 of 33 in 2022. And helps when you get on in front of an All-American like Braden Taylor, who comes up to the plate now.
Yeah, Carter Holton is, very quick in that windup. Kind of kicks that leg out, that lead leg, and gets his momentum going to the plate very quickly, but repeatable mechanics as well. Sometimes when you see those guys that are quick like that, sometimes hard for them to repeat their mechanics, but Holton does a great job of that.
Oh, high chopper right off the glove of the first baseman Noland. No chance for Vanderbilt to recover, and it's Nunez with that blazing speed going first to third.
Well, we talked about that as one of our keys to the game, Ben. Really, that pressure that TCU can put on defenses with that team speed. And Nunez taking advantage of a ball that skips over the glove of Parker Nolan at first base, and good job by Jonathan Vastina backing him up. See, Vastina makes a clean pickup, but could not have gotten Taylor on the throw. Holton was over there in plenty of time to take it, but Nunez goes from first to third on an infield chopper.
Having done the first game today, Pat, there have been a bunch of balls that have rocketed off that dirt area right in front of home plate, have made for some really tough ground balls on fielders. And that one for Nolan did his best to react, leap quickly, but could only get the top part of his glove on it.
And of course, they use that clay around home plate on the mound. Seems like it's just playing really hard, because you're exactly right, Ben. We saw a couple of base hits in game one off the bats of Oklahoma State. Balls that were just like that. They hit the dirt right in front of the plate, bounced up over the infielders' heads, and accounted for a couple of hits in the first game. And now we see it again here in game two.
A big opportunity as a result for Curtis Byrne, the catcher who wears number 4, bats in the 4-hole with 2 on and 1 out. Swing and a miss. Going after that 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Carter Holton. Byrne, who took over on opening day last year, starting catcher after Michael Petrie had a fractured wrist in the opener against San Diego State. This one foul to stay alive.
And Byrne obviously just trying to put the ball in play. You can see Vanderbilt's defense setting up a double play depth up the middle. Byrne trying to put the Frogs on the board by putting the ball in play. Carter Holton looking for the strikeout.
They call Curtis Byrne Nails. That's his nickname around the Fort Worth campus as he fouls another one off.
I don't mind him playing like Lenny Dykstra, just maybe not behave the same way. That's what we're looking for, right? That nickname Nails.
I was waiting for you to follow up on that. Punches one into right field, sends Schreck towards the line, makes the catch in fair territory. Nunez on the tag, the throw cut off, and TCU strikes first.
Well, just a great piece of 2-strike hitting by Curtis Byrne. And again, we talk about shortening up the swing, putting the ball in play in key situations. That was just great situational hitting from Byrne. Got the elevated breaking pitch from Carter Holton, was able to lift it to the outfield just deep enough. R.J. Schreck had to make that running catch and could not square his feet up to make a strong throw home. That'll account for the first Horned Frog run. Just a great piece of hitting by Byrne.
And Nunez, who has been in the top of that TCU order now for the 3rd year running. The Arlington native playing in his hometown, able to score the first run of the season for TCU. With David Bishop coming up, was on the Big 12 all-freshman team last year. So TCU strikes first today. 2 teams that figure and have goals to play deep into May this upcoming season, ideally into June as well in the postseason. An early, at least, conversation with Michael Banks saying something to Carter Holton.
Yeah, that was Holton going to his mouth and his hand to his mouth, and he just wants him to wipe that hand off before he goes to the ball.
Drops in a curve. Perfectly done for a strike. Michael Banks calling the balls and strikes. Shane Matheny, John Brammer, and Casey Mosier, the umpires around the diamond today. Swing and a miss, pops out of the glove of Bulger, who gets the tag, and that does it for inning number 1. But Elijah Nunez, showing off his speed, goes first to third on an infield single, and then scores on Curtis Byrne's sacrifice fly. We're through 1 inning from Globe Life Field. It's TCU on top, 1-0.
Come get you a watch. Timing is perfect like who need a watch. We know they sleep while they lay on their cot. We made a way out of way that was blocked. Hey, this is
day one of the 2023 College Baseball Showdown presented by Higginbotham. Outstanding preseason top 15 matchup between TCU and Vanderbilt. Pseudo home game for the Horned Frogs. Faithful making that short drive from Fort Worth here to Arlington. Home broadcast for one Pat Combs.
There you go.
It's nice for you. You're sleeping in your own bed this weekend. Great to be back with you again for another year. And at TCU, you could just tell the excitement palpable about this year for Horned Frog baseball. And getting a great test right away, taking on perennial powerhouse Vanderbilt. With the first pitch of the second inning popped foul by Calvin Hewitt. TCU striking first in the bottom of the opening frame. And now it's Vanderbilt who try to respond with Hewitt, his first year in the starting lineup, one of several first-year starters who are getting their opportunity for head coach Tim Corbin to be in, at least at the start of the year, the everyday nine.
Yeah, you know, what you love too, Ben, is Tim Corbin's 21st year at Vanderbilt, and just to hear the excitement in his voice that, you know, every new season brings that. But you got to love a guy who just loves investing in the game the way Corbin does, and especially his players. And I was so impressed in the interview just hearing him talk about his players as student athletes. He kept mentioning guys that made the dean's list and guys that are really working hard on both the field, on and off it. That time a hit batter.
And Hewitt gets nailed on an 0-2 pitch. Fastball running inside. And the first base runner of the day for Vanderbilt. Yeah, team was at about over a 3.3 GPA in the fall. It's not like Vanderbilt is, you know, not like when I went to high school and you could just take, you know, gym and band to boost your GPA. It's a very demanding academic school, and Coach Corbin was really happy with how his team gelled, bonded in the fall before their official preseason even kicked off.
Yeah, I went to Rice my first year and you know, took Geology 101 off called Rocks for Jocks, but nothing like that at Vandy.
In the meantime, ball in the dirt. That allows Calvin Hewitt with a good secondary lead to jump on down to second, as Vanderbilt looks to be very proactive on the base pass.
And that's one of the goals for Vandy, is to be active on the base pass, especially against Vanderhigh. That, you know, that 6'6" frame, it's tough sometimes to be quick to home plate when you got all those arms and legs. Got to get moving in one direction. And Hewitt with the hit batter now moves over to second base using his speed.
Swing and a miss from Nolan. That goes down as a stolen base. Hewitt had started to move before that ball was a little bit low, but where that location was made it almost impossible for Curtis Byrne to recover behind the dish. So Hewitt, the first Commodore into scoring position, while Nolan, a fourth-year juniors, his fourth year in the starting lineup out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Goes the other way with Luke Boyers retreating. Plenty of room and makes the catch. It's Hewitt who tags, going to third. He's able to make it. More aggressive base running pays off for Vandy.
Well, a great job of base running there by Calvin Hewitt. You oftentimes don't see runners tagging when the ball's in the air to left field. And Luke Boyers with a clean grab. Nice strong throw to third base, but the ball took him deep towards the warning track, and Hewitt with some aggressive base running puts himself at third base with less than 2 outs. Just a great read that he could make it before Boyers could get it to third base.
Especially considering the dimensions, the fact that this is a cavernous, true big league ballpark in Arlington. With a swing and a miss from R.J. Austin, you force, as a base runner, you force opposing fielders into a tough position. Do you have enough aggression to go behind the ball, take that running start to get a crow hop in on a throw, or are you just trying to track the ball in with the way the rafters sort of look back into the sun here at this setup at Globe Life Field?
Yeah, R.J. Austin now looking to put the ball in play. TCU's defense playing back in the infield even with 2 strikes. Vanderhigh is quickly up in the count against Austin, but TCU willing to concede the run if Austin could put the ball in play.
Just outside. The partisan TCU crowd wanted that one, as R.J. Austin makes his collegiate debut, true freshman out of Atlanta. was a projected early day 2 pick in last year's MLB draft, but decided to go to Vandy and makes his debut right now. In on the hands, able to survive.
Yeah, Curtis Byrne, the Frog catcher, lost his footing and ended up on his back end, but Austin able to fight that fastball delivery off. Yeah, trailing hard in. Oh, he got hit. That's what it was. Yeah. That was the backswing of R.J. Austin. Caught him. I thought he just lost his footing there, but that bat definitely caught him on the shoulder.
So Byrne digs back in at catcher. Vanderhei in his first game as a Horned Frog with a 1-2 count on Austin. Good battle. When we asked Coach Tim Corbin what Austin would bring to the team as a true freshman, he said there are no cosmetics, there's no BS to his game. He just gets into the box and he digs in and is ready to go. And you don't say that about many true freshmen coming in.
Yeah, it's one speed for him. It's everything he does is hard and fast. Call him a fearless baller.
To the right side, that gets the job done. Excellent AB in his first time at the plate. R.J. Austin is fired up as you'll see somebody be after a routine ground out to the right side as he drives home Hewitt.
Well, R.J. Austin did exactly what he needed to do there. Again, another tough slider from Vanderhei. That is typically a strikeout pitch, and Austin just able to flick his bat out there and make contact. And took advantage of the fact that the Horned Frogs were playing back on the infield and gets Hewitt home with that ground ball.
And the entire Vanderbilt team coming out of the dugout to celebrate, congratulate R.J. Austin on the team play, the job well done. Again, I don't know how many times I've seen that on a 4-3 ground out in the second inning, Pat, of game 1, but here you go. And it's Jonathan Vastine who comes to the plate. And a ridiculously good catch made in the first row of the third deck by a young fan. Job well done. Our first Gold Glove of the tournament so far.
There you go. That's why you bring it.
Vastine, another high chopper. This one, though, read well by Richardson as he makes the play. After TCU strikes first in the opening inning, Vanderbilt responds with a little small ball. R.J. Austin, the RBI ground out, and we're tied at 1 going to the bottom of the second on Flow Sports.
At Higginbotham, for 75 years, we've put you at the center of everything we do. The people you care about, your community, your business, your success. We listen to what's most important to you, because that's what's most important to us. People first service drives us. Leading with values defines us, but you make us. Higginbotham, insurance, HR, and financial services, inspired by you.
It's a 1-1 game as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Welcome you back. Welcome into the booth here at Globe Life Field. I'm Ben Wilson, Pat Combs over there, and Josh Foster is with us right now. Josh, it's so great to have you, Director of External Affairs for the baseball team at Vanderbilt.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for stopping by. Game number 1, and we're underway. First off, congratulations on your new promotion. You were formerly the SID at Vanderbilt. What's the new view like going from way up in the press box to down in the dugout? It's got to be pretty surreal.
Yeah, it is pretty surreal, you know. being in the press box, whether it's been with baseball and football, I think being down in the dugout has put me in a different element. But I'm excited to be down there, a lot of energy, and be there to support our boys.
Josh, you look like a guy that likes to be in the game, so I couldn't picture you behind a desk. You need to be on the field, man. It's a good move on your part.
Yeah, nah. Looks can be deceiving, so.
There you go. What we saw in the last inning is we start this inning with a high fly ball to left. It's drifting foul. See if there's enough room. No, into the stands, despite Calvin Hewitt giving chase over there for Vandy. Luke Boyers leading off this bottom of the second for TCU. I noted to Pat, I can't remember the last time I saw a team's dugout clear out and start celebrating on a ground ball to the right side in the second inning of the first game of the season, but that feels like what this Vanderbilt team and this general vibe is in a nutshell.
For sure. And our team is a team that plays with a lot of energy and just a team that supports one another. So it's that same energy you see in the second inning will be the same in the ninth and same throughout the entire game, and game 1 and game 56 as well. So our team is one that prides itself on just being supportive and being together. So I love to see that energy from our team on a 4-3 ground out or whether it's a home run. It'll be the same.
Josh, what I really enjoyed when I was talking to Tim Corbin earlier in the week is how much emphasis he places on the student part of athlete, and the fact that you guys have a tighter filter in the athletes you have to recruit, because they got to go to school at Vanderbilt. That's not an easy place to go to school, but I love that mentality of, hey, we have to find the right players that are a fit, but also guys that can take care of their schoolwork.
Yeah, and it's a premium at Vanderbilt, but I think one thing that Coach Corbin has talked about is seeing the correlation between great students and great athletes, and seeing when guys are really good in the classroom that translates to the field as well. And one thing he's talked about publicly is saying that some of the best teams at Vanderbilt have had some of the best GPAs at Vanderbilt.
Oh, there you go.
So you look at that 2014 team and that 2019 team and the 2011 team, those teams that have made it to Omaha, they've had really good GPAs. And so this team has had a really good GPA in the fall, and so it seems promising in the classroom, but it's interesting that it's a correlation
There's
between
a translation,
yeah, without a doubt.
More
and
wins.
So I think with those particular student athletes, you see that they have their things together in the classroom. They're organized so that they're able to be free on the field and not have to worry about those distractions off of the field. So it just shows to their organization and the way they're able to keep themselves together.
Yeah, that hard work carries over in all facets of their life. I love that correlation.
In the meantime, Cole Fontenelle up right now after Luke Boyers draws the leadoff walk. We're joined in the booth right now by Josh Foster, who handles the external affairs for the Vanderbilt baseball team, and so much is made now about the transfer portal, and that is such a, you just see teams use that so heavily. At Vanderbilt is such a unique program because of its academic standing, and RJ Schreck is the only transfer coming in, and he's from Duke, another premier academic program, but has not held back Vanderbilt in any way. It's pretty amazing. They've been able to continue to find success despite not going into some of those new waters that a lot of other programs are doing, it seems like.
Yeah, I think it says something when you're able to, like, when you recruit these kids, you want to develop the people that you have in-house. And the transfer portal has worked for some other teams, and that's not to say whether it's right or wrong, but it's something that I think with RJ Schreck coming here, he's a graduate student, he's really blended into this environment really well, being at Duke and now coming to Vanderbilt. And he was high school teammates with Sam Leboki at Harvard Westlake in Los Angeles, California. I actually worked with RJ Schreck when I was at Duke because I was the SID there during his freshman year in 2019. Wow. So it was a bit of a reconnection for us.
Very high fly ball. Schreck is the one right on cue who makes the catch out
right on cue.
Hey, you're a pro, man. You know how to set it up. That takes a seasoned broadcaster knowing how to weave the player into the game. So there's a look at Schreck, the number 3 in the Vandy pinstripes as Fontenelle flies out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said, Josh. As you mentioned, the development, you like to get those guys in and as freshmen and develop them and have them stick around the program, because obviously it lends itself to better culture. But also, you know, if you're having to constantly replace guys through the transfer portal every year, really hard to mesh these guys into a team. So I love the philosophy that Tim and his staff have is, hey, we want to find the best high school players, get them into the program and develop them.
Yeah, having those experienced guys, it matters. And when you see those teams, the culture of the program, I think it definitely makes a difference. And just being able to fit yourself in a program for 3 to 4 years, that experience and just that familiarity of being around a program, I think it makes a difference on the field and off the field.
Trey Richardson up right now, 1 on, 1 out with Carter Holton keeping the base runner Boyers at bay over at first. So you've been at Duke, you're at Vanderbilt now. Each program is with historically great coaches in individual sports. Mike Krzyzewski at Duke, you have Tim Corbin at Vanderbilt. What is, from your experiences being around, say, a guy like Tim Corbin, what is unique and different about him that maybe your casual fan would not know when they look at a guy who's had the resume he's had in his 20 years now bleeding Vandy?
I think the one great thing about Coach Corbin is that he really cares about the student athletes and their experience while at Vanderbilt. And it says something to the culture of the program when you have so many former players that come back and look at him as a father figure. And he's a guy who, even from a staff member on his staff and in his program, he's been able to influence my life in a positive way as well. So he's just able to affect these guys and these players in such a positive way and have an impact on their growth even after they've left Vanderbilt. So a lot of these former guys come back and just want to be around the program and want to be around the facility, and it says something because they always look at Vanderbilt as home. And so he's a guy who values teaching and values just changing younger kids' lives and having an impact on them.
Josh, I think it was so incredible when you look at Coach Corbin's career. You're thinking about he spent 8 years as an assistant at Clemson, comes to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had been perennially at the bottom of the SEC in baseball, and within just a short year, there was this major turnaround. And now, of course, Vanderbilt's become this powerhouse, Power 5 club in college baseball. But you mentioned, the fact that he loves on the kids. It builds the culture. They look at him as a father figure. What about his standards of excellence? Have you learned something in terms of what he expects and just the productivity and level of excellence that he expects?
Yeah, I think it's something that's palpable. When you walk into the building, you feel that, and it's a standard that even the student athletes know to adhere to, and it's kind of understood that when you have a player-driven program, it's something that makes a difference and is able to have an impact on the field. So these guys we have a lot of senior leadership, and they lead from the top, and then they make sure that the freshmen are in line, and it's even the same on the staff as well. Yep. So his standards of excellence are very palpable throughout the facility and throughout the program, and everybody knows it and understands it and just picks up and does their role.
Carter Holton, you see, getting the backwards K. Anthony Silva now smacks one into center. Bradfield Jr. on his horse, but has just enough room to bring it in. Silva gives it a ride, but one of the best outfielders in the game able to make the catch.
That was a nice play.
It was. Nice way for you to exit, Josh. Josh Foster, Director of External Affairs for Vanderbilt Baseball. Can't thank you enough for doing this. Game 1 for you in your new role. So first off, congrats on the promotion and the new role. Exciting stuff for you this year. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
All
Josh.
right. That's Josh Foster. We'll come back to the 3rd inning. We go next from Global Life.
Protecting what matters most is the mission that matters most. At Lockheed Martin, we know today's threats come from behind, above, and below, and we make sure those who serve stay ahead of them by connecting platforms necessary to dominate every domain across air, land, sea, space, and cyber, using technologies that protect in the same moment they detect. The mission is a safer, more secure world. Our promise is to help make it happen.
even though this is a pseudo home game for TCU with campus not all that far away in Fort Worth, a good Vanderbilt contingent making the trip down from Nashville opening weekend of the college baseball season. And a good one so far between Vandy and TCU. 1-1 game as we go to the third. And getting to see, Pat, the speed of Enrique Bradfield Jr. in person that last inning on his catch to end the inning.
Oh, man.
Just so fun to watch, even though he made that look as routine of a play as you could ask for.
That ball was torched off the bat of Anthony Silva, and you're exactly right, Ben. He made that look easy. He just was playing shallow against Silva, dashed back. I mean, he ran 40 yards on a sprint, caught that ball in plenty of time right in front of the 407 sign in center field. And yeah, it's just really impressive when you see a player with that elite speed. But you can see the way that Bradfield Jr. tracks the ball as well. I mean, he almost goes to the ball. He almost knows where it's going, and then just gets there.
It's Jack Bulger leading off for Vanderbilt. Here's how that last half inning ended.
Yeah, he had it all the way. I mean, he's tracking that ball so well. Again, that's what makes him a complete player and one of the better defensive outfielders you'll see in college baseball.
Ripped by Bulger, but right at Taylor. He's made a couple nice plays already. Braden Taylor adds another to his list as Bulger is the first out of the third.
And we talk about Braden Taylor being such an offensive-minded player, of course, batting in that third hole for the Frogs, but his defense at third base has really improved. And it wasn't bad to begin with. He's just gotten better and better over there at that hot corner. Just the smoothness of his movement. Again, a strong arm, strong throw over to first baseman David Bishop, but Braden Taylor really becoming a complete player for TCU.
And it's a guy in Davis Diaz now up who spent a lot of time at third base last year. He's back in the lineup at shortstop today, but Diaz, someone who is recruited as a shortstop, a big get out of Pittsburgh, California, and had some of those growing pains like you expect any freshman to make after transitioning to a new position. Did have 9 errors last year, but a guy they're really high on. And I'm sure any of those underclassmen, they watch, if you're an infielder on the left side, Pat, you watch what Taylor does and just the ease of which he makes the game look as a defender.
Yeah, smooth movements, no doubt. Very athletic player. I love what Coach Corbin said, though. He said, man, having a guy like this in your infield is fun, but he just makes coaching fun. It's a low-maintenance guy that comes to the ballpark every day with this joy. And he just makes the game fun.
And he works the count to 2-1. There you see Braden Taylor at third, who made the first assist of the inning. A lot of the younger players around college baseball watch with great admiration as Diaz smacks one to center. Past the dive of Nunez. Extra bases for Diaz. How far can he go? Diaz on his horse to third. Ball gets away from the cutoff man, and he'll stay there. Triple for Diaz to put Vandy in business.
It goes back to the two-strike approach by Diaz, and again, just a nice short swing through the zone. Catches a pitch middle in, and Elijah Nunez looked like he was tracking it, but that ball kept tailing away from him. Just gets underneath his glove, and watch Davis Diaz run. Picks up the triple, and by the time Trey Richardson was able to get it after bounded away, Davis finds himself at third base.
That allows Enrique Bradfield Jr. to come back up with a man 90 feet away from scoring. Pulls back on the bunt attempts. At least from our vantage point up here, Pat, you sort of wonder, had Diaz gone in standing to third with the way that ball got away from Richardson, could he have maybe scored? But regardless, you get a one-out triple with your best hitter coming up. You'll take that anytime.
Held down on the breaking ball. Good pitch by Vanderhei, but Bradfield Jr. holds up. Earns the 2-0 count. And TCU's defense now will play deep. Braden Taylor in at third base, mainly to guard against the bunt, if Bradfield Jr. chooses to do it.
Takes another ball on 2-0. As much as normally, Pat, you'd say, okay, well, you pitch around the best hitter, you set up the double play ball. Yeah, that's not really in play with Bradfield Jr. because of the speed, and you can almost guarantee that he'd be on the move if he gets to first.
Yeah, Walker single with him is a double, and definitely not what Vanderbilt is trying to do here.
He does pump in a 3-0 strike.
You see a lot of good arm side movement from Vanderbilt. One thing he did in the fall was he really started to distinguish that 4-seam fastball from his 2-seam. Now here against Bradfield Jr., he's seeing more 2-seam fastballs. He wants that ball running down and away from the lefty. Gets
exactly
the call there.
Pitch he gets. That's what you're looking at. 92 with movement.
Yeah, that 94 to 96 mile an hour fastball, that'll be more of the 4-seam variety. He'll use that against lefties. It doesn't mean he's not going to not use it. He'll use it when he's in 2 strike counts, wants to come hard and in to a lefty. He'll throw the 4-seamer.
Hit into the air on 3-2. This is pretty shallow. Nunez comes in. Will it be deep enough? There's the tag. Here's the throw. It's offline. Diaz makes it home, and Vandy takes the lead.
Well, we have seen a couple of really strong, aggressive base running decisions by Vanderbilt. Both have paid off. This time in the form of Davis Diaz giving the Doors the lead. Yeah, like you said, Ben, Nunez came in about 10 steps. Looked like he could have had a shot with a decent throw. That throw took catcher Curtis Byrne up the line a bit. And Davis Diaz made a nice slide to the inside part of the plate. No chance for Byrne to dive and get him.
And after TCU strikes first in the opening inning, that's runs in back-to-back frames now for Vanderbilt. And with so many unknowns about what will this Vanderbilt lineup look like from top to bottom outside of Enrique Bradfield Jr., some questions being answered early today. Here's a tapper to short, a charge, and a nice throw made. Silva just nips Matthew Polk as the inning comes to an end. But a 1-out triple by Davis Diaz sets the table for a Bradfield Jr. sac fly. And Vanderbilt is back in front. 2-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the third.
At Higginbotham, for 75 years, we've put you at the center of everything we do. The people you care about, your community, your business, your success. We listen to what's most important to you, because that's what's most important to us. People first service drives us. Leading with values defines us. But you make us. Higginbotham. Insurance, HR, and financial services. Inspired by you.
The Vandy fans are fired up. Good start for the 10th ranked Commodores, who lead 15th ranked TCU 2-1 going to the bottom of the third. With the top of the order due up, Austin Davis in his first game as a Horned Frog, ready to go for TCU. This has lived up. I know it's only been 5 half innings, Pat, but this has lived up. These look like 2 teams who could be, this easily could be a super regional right now.
This doesn't feel like an opening game of the 23 season. It feels like a regional. Certainly has it. And really 2 athletic teams. We've already seen that on display here, Ben, with the speed on both sides. Boy, fun to watch. 2 teams that compete like this. And, as Tim Corbin said on the call, we talk about maybe the lack of home run production. He said, look, guys, home runs are boring. It takes 15, 16 seconds to go around the bases. I like teams that are built with speed. And certainly Kirk Sarlos does too. Both teams flashing it early here.
With Carter Holton back out on the mound, his 3rd inning of work. And this is part of a very busy non-con for Vanderbilt. You never blame any SEC team for sitting back, trying to work themselves into the season because of how much of a grind SEC play is. But Vanderbilt is playing in not 1 but 2 very high-level non-conference tournaments this weekend, and then they go to Minneapolis playing in the Cambria College Classic with 3 different teams from the Big Ten in a few weeks' time. So not holding back and playing a ton of cupcakes early. Tim Corbin really challenging his Commodores. Starting with game number 1 against TCU.
Well, I think that's the point. I mean, you really do. Both coaches want to see, what do we have? What does this look like? How are these lineups going to compete against top quality pitching? Probably 2 of the better schools for pitchers we've seen the last 10 or 15 years in college baseball. Both have put out a number of major league prospects and guys that are currently pitching in the big leagues, working their way up. Of course, Texas really fond of Vanderbilt pitchers last couple of seasons. Rangers picking up both Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter.
4th straight year this past draft with a round 1 draft pick for Vanderbilt. As the 3-2 just misses outside, and Austin Davis draws a leadoff walk for TCU.
Yeah, that pitch didn't miss by much. You can hear some shouts out of the Vanderbilt dugout where that miss. Umpire Michael Banks signaled a little bit down. There's the delivery from Carter Holton, and a good job by Jack Bolger to pick that low pitch up. Made it look good. Oftentimes you'll get those calls. Not that time.
Carter Holton, very good command last year. Struck out over a batter an inning, 97 in just over 80 frames of work with only 29 walks. And the hype is there for Holton. You read any of the preview articles this year, and they say he could be the next guy etched in stone alongside the likes of David Price, Jack Leiter, Kumar Rocker. Those are huge names to be thrown up against, but when you look at the stuff, there's a reason why the expectations are so high with Holton.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a complete pitcher. Now, when I say that, it just means he's got great command to go along with the stuff. And the makeup is there. And that's what scouts oftentimes look for. You see a lot of these kids working on velocity these days. And, yeah, you want to ring those radar guns up. That's great. But the name of the game on the mound is getting people out. And that's what Carter Holton has proved himself up as, a guy who just understands how to pitch, how to command the plate, use all of his pitches effectively, and you just like the moxie that he brings to the mound.
And both teams today especially, you're seeing them force each starting pitcher to be really patient and thoughtful with how they approach the game with all that speed on the base pass. Nunez bunts through that off-speed pitch, a slider down in the zone, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, Nunez looked like he was trying to push that bunt towards first base. Of course, you got the first baseman Parker Nolan at the bag with holding Austin Davis on, and Jonathan Vastine at second base playing deep.
It's a swing and a miss, strike 3, but the ball does get away, allowing Davis to move up to second. Nunez automatically out by Davis occupying first base at the time. So strikeout, but an advancement to second. And it gives Braden Taylor a man in scoring position as the big hitting third baseman comes to the plate for TCU.
Now, TCU was trying to do exactly that. Get Davis moved over to scoring position for Taylor. That was the idea Nunez went up to the plate with, and that time they achieve it with the ball that gets away from Bolger on the wild pitch.
This is the sort of matchup that the Major League scouts in attendance are coming to watch. Projected top SEC prospect in the 2024 draft, Carter Holton, you see right there. Braden Taylor, the projected top third baseman in college this year at the plate.
Quick snap throw, trying on the pickoff move to get Davis leaning off a second. Diaz had snuck in behind him, but Austin Davis able to get his hand underneath that tag.
An off-speed approach to start things off. A couple of balls back to back, and it's 2-0 to Taylor.
You can see the strategy of Holton really trying to keep that ball down and away from Braden Taylor.
Showing him a lot of respect right now, Carter Holton. Up against a guy in Braden Taylor who came to campus in Fort Worth weighing 155 pounds. He's 6'1", not all that imposing of a guy, and is just quietly put together 2 tremendous years. Here he rips one just foul. That almost hit Shane Matheny, who did a good job to stay on his feet down there at first, our umpire. That looked foul in real time to me, Pat, even though the TCU fans didn't like the call.
Well, you always look at the hitter and see their reaction. And Braden Taylor stopped about 3 steps out of the box. But boy, you had Matheny dancing down there, first base umpire.
Wow. That's why you take, the ballet classes as an umpire in the
Yeah,
off
right.
season. Make sure you can handle that.
Sign up for hazard pay at
There you
first
go.
base with those rockets from Braden Taylor coming down at you.
Graceful recovery by Shane Matheny. He's having a good laugh. Yeah, he knows. He knows he was perilously close to being on some sort of not top 10 film or something.
Again, Holton to second base. Those pickoffs do a couple of things. You're trying to cut down that lead by Austin Davis at second. Any half step or step you can have him reducing his lead gives your outfielders a better chance to try to make a throw if he were trying to score.
Oh, comes up and in, and Taylor ends up fighting it off on a check swing. So the good battle reaches a full count.
Hard fastball up and in, and Taylor couldn't get the bat out of the way, but he was more concerned about his body getting out of the way.
These are 2 former teammates on the U.S. Collegiate National Team with a called strike 3 on 3 and 2. Wow. It's Holton who wins the battle.
Masterful job by Carter Holton coming down for a 3-0 count. You won't see that very often. Braden Taylor in a 3-0 situation and coming back and locking him up on a fastball away. Just a perfectly thrown and located pitch.
That leads it up to Curtis Byrne, who comes in with 2 outs and a runner on second. Given the likely limited pitch counts, probably the last time we'll get to see that Holton-Taylor popcorn type matchup this weekend, but 2 very good battles. Taylor won the first time with a base hit. Holton wins the second time with a called strike 3. And Holton up to near 60 pitches. That's about where we'll see most of the Vanderbilt starters this weekend, as Byrne fouls it off.
Fastball's been consistently 92 to 94 from Carter Holton, and a little bit higher than average than what we've seen in the past, but coming out of the gates, you're throwing hard.
Byrne fouls one down the right side. He had the sac fly in the opening frame for TCU, driving in Nunez. He was one of those players last year, though, for head coach Kirk Saarloos, who excelled at the 2-out base knock. Had 18 2-out RBI last year, 18 of his 44 coming with 2 outs.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's just a prototypical clutch hitter. A guy that comes up in situations and delivers. And that's what Curtis Byrne has developed a knack of doing. Just delivering in critical situations for the Frog lineup.
2-2 count with 2 down. And still Carter Holton paying attention to Austin Davis at second. Davis was the best base stealer for the Mountaineers a season ago. 29 steals and 35 attempts, along with hitting a team-high .330. Up and away on 2-2. So there's a look at Davis. Went to regionals as a freshman with West Virginia, but a couple of down years to close his 4 years in Morgantown, and now finds his way to Fort Worth. He's on the move as this ball is popped up. Shallow right field. Schreck coming in, has a beat, and makes the catch. That was an adventure for Carter Holton, but he's able to work around the leadoff walk to Austin Davis. Back-to-back strikeouts and then a flyout. As we've played 3 innings from Globe Life in Arlington, to the 4th we go next. It's a 2-1 Vanderbilt lead as we go to the 4th inning with a look at Tim Corbin, 3-time National Coach of the Year, as he enters his 3rd decade as the head man in Nashville. 21st year, 841 wins in his time as leader of the Vanderbilt program. 16 straight NCAA tournaments, and that has now become the expectation for a program that, youngsters out there who say now their dream school, Pat, is Vanderbilt. They don't know what it was like before Tim Corbin was there, but what an unbelievable job he has done to turn around Vandy and make them into a perennial powerhouse.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Tim has built that program, and it's a dynasty. I mean, it's when you look at what that program was before he got there, and what he's been able to do, and especially at a school like Vanderbilt where you just have to recruit certain student athletes. You have to have guys that can go to class, pass classes, and that's, can't say it about every school, but that's what you get with Vanderbilt. What a job he has done.
Still had the number 2 overall recruiting class this year, and that's despite 6 of the 7 original top commits at Vandy leaving for the MLB draft. The high pop up into shallow right off the bat of R.J. Schreck. This one's hauled in by Trey Richardson. So you're always having to deal with that at Vanderbilt. Not that anybody will be sorry for Vandy. They've had it good, but a lot of those recruits that they're going after out of high school are likely to be extremely high draft picks anyway for Major League Baseball, and that's that song and dance you try to play.
On the flip side with Kirk Saarloos and the TCU Horned Frogs, boy, what a start they're getting from Ryan Vanderhyde. What they had hoped for, him coming off a tremendous fall where he really distinguished himself among some of the pitching staff there at TCU. And when you talk about stepping into some big shoes, last year, well, this year they're having to replace 40 starts from last year's team. Guys like Riley Cornelio and Austin Crowe, Marcelo Perez, Brett Walker, all moving on to pro ball. So it's a first time in a long time that Kirk Saarloos has had to look for really 3 to 4 new starters. And Vanderhyde was a key acquisition out of the transfer portal, University of Kansas, and really turned it on in the fall and proved himself to be earned this Friday start here for TCU.
And he's looked very solid so far. Gets the lazy fly ball from Calvin Hewitt out to center. 2 up and 2 down in this top of the 4th. All 3 weekend starters last year were drafted in the top 12 rounds for TCU. That's
impressive. Yeah,
that's a pretty challenging thing to replace.
That is that's impressive, and it's been like that for a long time since Saarloos arrived at TCU. Arrived in 2012. He's done an incredible job, of course, stepping in, as we talked about, for Jim Schlossnagle.
With Parker Nolan digging in for Vanderbilt. If you look at Ryan Vanderhyde too, at the line score so far, you're going, all right, 2 runs allowed in 3 2/3. If you're Vanderhyde, you probably feel like, man, that's the absolute maximum amount of runs I could have given up. Only 1 hit allowed so far. It was a hit by pitch, stolen base, fly out, ground out that got the run home for Vandy in the 2nd inning, and then a triple from Diaz on a diving catch attempt by Nunez that led to a sac fly. Those are how the 2 runs came across. Slowly hit grounder to the left side. It's a throw from Silva across to Bishop, and Noland is retired. A 1-2-3 inning for Vanderhyde. As we've played 3.5 from Arlington, Texas in Globe Life Field. TCU coming to the plate next. We'll visit with Brandy Davidson, Assistant Director of Athletic Communications for the Horned Frogs, when we return.
Let's go!
We welcome you back to Globe Life Field in Arlington. We have our next guest. She's doing everything right now for TCU. It's Brandy Davidson, Assistant Athletic Director for Communications for the Horned Frogs. Thanks for joining us despite the very busy. You're not just working for TCU. I mean, you're helping out with everything here at Globe Life today. So thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, it's awesome being close and being near home. The Rangers asked us to help out with the NCAA Division I side of things. So Jackson Hanna is assisting me today doing the stat crew in the writers press up there. So we're just hanging out watching some college baseball today.
Yeah, pretty good game so far, huh, Brandy?
Yeah, I would like to not have left three runners on base, but we'll take it. It's always fun to play in this venue and against top tier teams, and it's just ready. We were just ready for baseball.
As David Bishop leads off this bottom of the fourth for TCU with a 2-1 Vanderbilt lead. I just wonder how, for so many colleges and universities around the country, you don't have the opportunity that you do here at TCU, where you're right in the backyard of a major market with major pro sports venues, and to be able to be that pseudo home team in so many of these environments. I'm sure it's not lost on you, just like how special that is compared to so many other schools in the country.
I joke a lot that, okay, I'm really excited about this.
As this ball is ripped into the gap, Brandy Davidson bringing the spark as TCU gets a double. David Bishop. There you go.
No, we're really lucky and we're really blessed to get to do a lot of sporting events. We get calls from Conference USA, the American, ESPN has a really good pipeline, and Flow Sports. Any of the networks that come in and do games, we have the ability to send folks out to do stats and whatnot around town. And Dallas is a 45-minute drive, so you get to go a lot of places and work a lot of really cool events.
Well, Brandy, it's easy because you're one of the best. We've been working together a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, and it is. You make it so easy, and you cover everything that needs to be covered. Not unlike your head coach down there, Kirk Sarlos. I wanted to ask you, with Kirk, there's always that little bit of a question mark, right? When a new guy takes over, you had such great success with Coach Slosh, but there really wasn't a question mark when it came to Kirk Sarlos, right?
Not in my mind. Like I told, I've been around this program for 20 years, and the biggest thing that Kirk brought with the hiring of Kirk is it's still home. And I told a lot of the alumni and a lot of the guys is it's still home. The kids still come back, and nothing has changed. Just the leader of the team has changed, but the culture and the program itself has not changed. And I can speak to that, having been around it for 20 years. He brings a little bit more lightheartedness, I think, because of just his personality. But at the end of the day, Lupton Stadium and TCU, the campus, it's still home for everybody that's been here, played here for forever. And that's what's great. You come back to the field, and for me, it's hard to imagine that Brian Holiday didn't play with Braden Taylor, because to me, he's still Brian Holiday, and I've known him forever. And so it's just home, and there's so many guys that come back. Jake Arrieta played in 2006, 2007, and he still comes back. Matt Carpenter, 2005, he still comes back. So it's just a lot of fun to go out to the field and see any number of alumni dating back 20, 25, 30 years.
I'm thinking about all the fans who are here as well today. It's been really special to watch as this pitch hits Luke Boyers right on the left shoulder. So good start to the inning for TCU as Bishop had the leadoff double, booming one into the gap, and now Boyers is on with the hit by pitch. I'm sure most people would assume that campus has just been buzzing in the wake of you have the football team with this magical run to the national championship game. What has it been like from your perspective with how TCU has always been a big program but went to another level back in January?
It's fun. Yes, campus is buzzing. I think for those of us who are in it, I was fortunate enough to go on the ride with the football team to Phoenix and to LA, and I don't even think that whatever we got back on January 2nd from Phoenix and left again on January 6th for LA, and the whole time you're watching TV, you're seeing the commercials, and you're still like, holy crap, that's real.
This is real.
That's really happening, and that's really TCU, and I'm really going to be going to this game and participating. And you do all the conference calls leading up to it and stuff, and it's just all like, okay, whatever. That's just for the other 3 people on this call. But it was actually us, and it was. I bleed purple, and I choose to forget the 4 hours and appreciate the run. And there's a lot of people that would have loved to be where we were, and what happened. But the ride was fun. I think TCU, that small school in Fort Worth, showed up and showed out, as we like to say. And we might be small, but I think we're mighty in loyalty, and we come out when it matters.
This bunt is just foul off the bat of Cole Fontenelle after that visit to the mound on the Vanderbilt end. I'm sure, yes, a season that will never be forgotten by anybody in that, in that athletic
I'm
department.
an Iowa native, so it was extra special to me to see and watch an Iowa native really put a team on his back. Max was a lot of fun to watch this year, and as an Iowan, I was super proud of what he did and how he carried himself and whatnot.
And now we transition to the spring, where we were talking about this earlier when in the Oklahoma State game, where whenever you have a conference as good as the Big 12 in basketball and you focus on that combined with the baseball, going to be a really exciting couple of months stretch here. And this is not the only big-time tournament TCU will be in, right? Going down to Houston in a couple weeks?
Yeah, we've been very lucky with scheduling, and obviously being in the state of Texas, it's really nice to be able to have these 2 venues that are 25 minutes and 4 hours away, and getting to play good competition. And that's something that's been a hallmark of this program. We have never shied away from competition. There's no, padding the schedule for wins over here. We look for the best, because that's, as Coach would say, and I think he said to you guys on the conference call, is that's where you're going to find out what you need to work on.
That's right.
and get better at. And they'll be, you can go 0-3 like Texas did a couple years ago and go to Omaha, but they were better for what happened here than they would have been going and sweeping a 4-game series or something where there really wasn't a challenge. So I love how we schedule. You get to see the best of the best, and it's a lot of fun. Well, this
could be
this
2.
is not fun.
It's a 4-3 unassisted double play with Vastine taking it to the bag himself, making the play as Fontenelle grounds into the double play. Bishop does move over to third. So Michigan, Louisville, Rice in that tournament in Houston. That is going to be Pat, I know you're already excited for that one too. That's going to be a
we get to hang out in Houston.
We get to hang out.
That's fantastic. No, it's fun. And then we host Florida State at home next weekend. So,
yeah.
Again, it's fun to have the storied programs and stuff. We owe Florida State a debt. They took it to us in Tallahassee last year. So.
Brandy, with Bill Mosiello leaving for Ohio State, TJ Bruce comes in, and I know just looked at in college baseball as a tremendous assistant. What has he brought to TCU, and what do you know about him? What can you tell us about him?
He has
he's about to get a lot happier as this ball is
really
hit off the wall. Look at Brandy coming in this inning, and TCU gets a run. Big pop by Trey Richardson. Yeah, Trey Richardson off the wall to right center as he drives home David Bishop. Richardson is fired up, and we're tied at 2.
TJ has an unbelievable amount of energy, and Coach Mo did too. And Coach Mo is a tremendous human being, and he grew me up so much in this sport, a sport I'd been in for 15 years when I met him, and he grew me up crazy good. And TJ just brings a different kind of energy, but energy nonetheless. His little boys are the ones running the bats, and they are as energetic as you can be around. It's just a fun. He's going to be aggressive. I don't think TCU fans are actually going to really notice a difference, because he wants to be as aggressive as Coach Mo was. And just hearing him talk, obviously not watching us play other teams, but hearing him talk, he might be even more aggressive than Coach Mo.
No, that's hard to do.
It's hard to do, but I think just hearing him talk in the way he wants to run things and whatnot, I think you could see a lot of fun. And we have speed for days on this team. And
we're seeing it already, yeah.
I've watched it in practice and stuff, and Trey Richardson, who's on third, he can fly. Austin Davis, I'm excited to watch him on the bases this year. And I've seen Eli for 2 years. Braden can go. And it's a lot of fun when you can when you can really run.
Yeah.
That makes for a fun.
Richardson just taking third a second ago on that ball in the dirt, so he's at third after the RBI double. Anthony Silva up right now.
Yeah, but Trey Richardson giving up the green and gold, Brandy. He left.
Well, we
for the
couldn't get him
purple.
out when he was at Baylor, so we decided to bring him to us. That's how the world works, right?
That's right.
And look wild pitch.
Look at
or
that.
Pass ball.
And I believe, so that was a 1-2 count. I thought, now did that ball hit Silva or was it a wild pitch? The way Silva was reacting was if he got hit, which obviously would move Richardson back to third. So the officials or umpires will have to figure this one out because that's either a run for TCU or we go runners at the corners. And that looked really tight, Pat, at least in real time.
Yeah, well, Silva took off to first base like it hit him, and that I think was the give, right? So the umpiring crew will get together.
It's one of the rare times where you don't want to sell being hit if possible. And
that ball deflected off his foot, what I'm saying. Yep. So they will put Trey Richardson back to third base if that is the case. Kirk Saarloos out asking for a little bit more explanation from Michael Banks, the home plate umpire.
And in the meantime, we will get a pitching change as well. So with this getting sorted out, that'll be the end of the day for Carter Holton, regardless, with the change being made by Tim Corbin. So Brandy, you come in, you were the first team representative to come in and have your respective team score a run. So congratulations.
I try to bring good luck
put
it
on the board, Brandy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
I know it's a big weekend for you, so we can't thank you enough for doing this.
No problem. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll step aside, get you set for the new pitcher when we return on Flow Sports.
Let's go!
The new pitcher as Sam Leboki enters the fray for Vanderbilt following Carter Holton's first start of the year. It was ruled to be a hit by pitch, so Anthony Silva is at first. Trey Richardson does not score. He's brought back to third base, and Pat, it's now another projected starter for Vanderbilt, albeit one in Sam Leboki coming off of Tommy John surgery. So Vanderbilt fans very anxious and excited to see Leboki take them out for the first time.
Oh man, and when he was healthy, he was tremendous. I mean, the numbers are incredible. 1.51 earned run average, 36 Ks, 6 walks, only 17 hits over 35 innings, and he can bring it. And great to see him back on the mound, healthy, fully recovered from Tommy John. But you know, even when he was hurt, Tim Corbin described Leboki. He said, "Hey, he did whatever he could to help the team. You know, now that he's back on the mound, he's just looking for him to get rewarded. But he is a seasoned, smart pitcher."
And comes in a very big spot. His first appearance since midway through 2021. It was his 9th outing of the year. He was injured, underwent the Tommy John surgery, and now comes in to face Austin Davis in the top of the TCU lineup in a 2-2 game with runners on the corners and 2 outs. So Carter Holton's afternoon is done. Goes 3 2/3 innings, giving up the 2 runs, both earned on 4 hits, with a couple of walks and 4 strikeouts, and still responsible for those 2 men on base. Runner on the move. It's a fake throw down from the catcher Bulger, as Silva, with his quick speed, able to swipe the bag, as the true freshman out of San Antonio moves into scoring position.
Yeah, good jump at first base by Silva, and I think even a better job by Jack Bulger just to eat that ball and not make the throw. Trey Richardson looked like he was going to try to attempt home if that throw was made to second base. So good move by Bulger.
End of the day for Carter Holton, obviously not the final line score he was looking for, but it looked very solid overall, Pat. It was really just this inning where he got himself into some trouble and gave up a couple hard hit balls.
Yeah, probably threw a few more pitches than we typically would see. You know, he was consistent in the zone, but at times struggled with command, especially of the fastball up at times.
What can Leboki now do in relief? Fouled straight back on 1 and 2. Austin Davis worked a tremendous AB his last time up. He was eventually able to draw a walk on Holton.
Leboki's got the low 90s fastball. Pretty good movement when it's down in the zone, but his out pitch is a hammer curveball. Just misses outside with it.
Runs the count to 2 and 2. Leboki from LA, played at Harvard Westlake High School, was teammates with RJ Schreck, as those two are now reunited. Schreck, the right fielder, grad transfer from Duke. Back to the curve and just misses. As the Vanderbilt dugout looks on, full count in a 2-2 game, bottom of the 4th.
First base open. I don't think he's going to give in to Austin Davis here.
And Davis spoils the fastball foul. And we've already watched, Pat, so many high leverage back and forth pitcher batter matchups, and it's only the 4th inning.
It's been outstanding so far. It really what we expected. You know, pitching on both sides with these two clubs has been great. Both featuring lineups with a ton of speed, and we've already seen that on display today.
Davis to center. Bradfield Jr. has a beat on it. Comes in and makes the catch. Leboki does well to get out of the inning, having inherited a couple runners on base, but TCU does tie the game at 2. 4 innings down. It's a 2-2 game as we head to the 5th next.
Let the next 50 Ranger seasons begin. Fresh start, blank space, with strong pieces in place. We're not through. There's work to do. Start the clock, watch our stock, y'all. This hope feels different. So, stir your imagination. Embrace the anticipation. Let's earn a celebration. The arrow is up. Are you down?
We welcome you back to Globe Life Field. We continue with our next guest, Jared Schramm, who was with us last year. We loved him so much, we're like, hey man, you gotta come back. Also, maybe because he's the VP of live events for the Texas Rangers, that might have played a small role, Jared, but great to see you back. How are you?
Yeah, good to see you guys. Thanks for having me back.
Nothing quite like opening day. That is the phrase you'll hear around Major League Baseball in about a month and a half, but we can say it right now, today, as part of this this 3rd annual college baseball showdown here at Globe Life. And yet again, here we are back, and it's great too to have such a loaded field as well this year. I'm sure nice on your end to see some local products like a TCU here, bringing a lot of fans into the house.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, the field that we have this year is incredible. You got 4 teams in the top 15, 3 in the top 10. 6 teams that compete for a championship year in and year out. So we're excited.
You know, Jared, we were told here, we're reminded that the last 2 College World Series winners both played in this tournament. So you guys have a great knack of picking the right guys to be here.
They did, and Ole Miss beat OU, who participated in our tournament last year. So yeah, we've definitely had a good run these past 3 years.
Jared definitely not taking any of the credit for it, but it's a coincidence. It's worked out pretty well. As
That's
RJ
right.
Austin
we're
strikes
very
out,
fortunate.
swinging Ryan Vanderhei back on the mound, getting the punch out. And I just remember the talking point we discussed so much last year. It was that first full year of no restrictions or limitations coming out of COVID, and you were able to navigate that so well. And now here we are. It seems like things have really developed nicely for you guys and all of your events at Rev Entertainment over the last year.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun weekend. Obviously, we got the Showdown going on here. 9 games over the course of the weekend at Globe Life Field, but we also have the XFL over at Choctaw kicking off tomorrow, followed by rugby on Sunday. So it's an exciting weekend in the district.
So be prepared for traffic is what you're saying.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're Jonathan Bastine poking a single into left. I believe the Vegas Vipers are the XFL team that are here tomorrow against,
you would know that,
against Dallas.
And we're told that Dwayne Johnson is going to be making his appearance for the game, so ticket sales spiked a bit over there for the XFL, and I'm sure that that might cause part of the traffic jam here in Arlington.
And that's what's I'm sure from your perspective, you look at it, you're part of a Major League Baseball team, building events, trying to fill out your non-Major League Baseball schedule, and we sit February 17th, and you're prepared for major traffic jams. That has to be, aside from the traffic jam part, I would think that's the sign of a job well done, that you've been able to come up with a schedule like this that is able to keep this region and this area still very, very busy even in the off season. Yeah.
I mean, that's our goal. We want to put together a great event here, but we want to drive business to our hotels and restaurants and bars and keep the district busy. And so, I mean, you guys have seen this place over the past couple of years continue to grow, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Meanwhile, Jack Bolger now at the plate with 1 on, 1 out in the top of the 5th. I did notice more construction, which I feel like that's the sign that things are progressing.
Yeah.
What's coming on the horizon?
That is the Ocho. That is the new Lowe's Hotel. There's a sky bridge from one to the other, so slated to open here in Q1 of 24. It is going to be a beautiful hotel, and one teams are excited about to come back to Arlington and stay over there as well. So it'll be fun when we host this tournament because all 6 teams will be within walking distance of the building. So certainly convenient for everybody that'll be participating in this event, and then the fans that stay over the weekend, they have a close place to stay.
Outstanding. Jared, what are some of the new events that you've added over the course since the last time we saw you?
Oh gosh,
a ton, right?
Yeah, no shortage. We have the American coming up here in March, so we'll have a rodeo back in here. We in 2021 we had the NFR, which was unbelievable. I think we touched on that a bit last year, but this year we have the American, which we're certainly excited about. The Big 12 will return. Their championship is here in May. We'll have a few concerts scattered out throughout the year that we're excited about, and then of course our special events business is doing well. We do everything we can to keep this building active, so our calendar is full, and that's our job, and we're excited to keep it rolling.
Ballpark that just opened up back in 2020, and it's pretty rare that you see, especially in today's day and age with the the modern setup of constructing a new park, where you see the old park, especially one that was right across the street. I mean, most of the time that's just used for parking and demolished. So it's fascinating to me how what is now Choctaw Stadium has been repurposed and is still, it seems like, such a useful venue for you guys to have.
Yeah, it's still a beautiful building, and so we're excited that the XFL is back and is going to keep that busy. I know they're expecting quite a few fans over there tomorrow.
They got him with the caught stealing down to second. How about that throw from Curtis Byrne? Anthony Silva puts the tag on Vastine.
Yeah, outstanding. And Curtis Byrne had to stay down on that pitch as well and came up with a quick release. Just able to nick Vastine in time. Just a powerful throw there from Curtis Byrne. Beautifully done. Nice tag by Trey Richardson.
Sets up a 2-2, and Bolger swings and misses. Now, TCU was tired of hearing Jared Schramm talk, though. Let's get out of here. We need to get the inning over. But, Jared, it's always so good to see you. I know you're going to be around with us here the rest of the weekend.
Sure will.
So,
yeah, if you'll have me back.
We will.
Oh,
All right, guys.
That's not even a question. Great to see you, Jared. We'll come back halfway through this one from Globe Life Field in Arlington. Thanks, guys. This one has lived up to expectations so far. Vanderbilt 2, TCU 2, halfway home on a Friday afternoon in Arlington, Texas at Globe Life Field. Fans filing in, second of 3 games today on day 1 of this 2023 college baseball showdown. Gotten a little bit of everything so far, Pat Combs. Hitting, pitching, speed, defense. It's been a fun one to watch.
No, it really has. It's been everything we hoped it would be, in addition to a tie ball game here halfway through. But yeah, both these teams obviously top of college baseball last number of years, have both built tremendous programs, and to be able to launch this season here with a matchup of Vanderbilt and TCU has been such a treat for us to watch, and only halfway through.
Oh, game 1 between Oklahoma State and Mizzou saw tremendous relief pitching. There was not a single run scored once both starters were knocked out of the game. Oklahoma State won that opener 5-3. And Sam Leboki trying to keep that trend going. First reliever in the game today. He got the final out of the 4th for Vanderbilt in relief of Carter Holton. And now he gets 2, 3, and 4. Nunez, Taylor, and Byrne in the TCU order.
I love what Coach Tim Corbin was talking about in terms of, great college baseball teams. What are the differences you see between a great college program and at the professional level? And he said, look, professional level, those guys are built a little bit different than college players. They come in with more strength. Of course, they're more mature, older. As Nunez strikes out looking, Bloke off to a great start. But he said the difference is, at this level, we want to build a team that's built around speed, the ability to play great defense, good pitching. But on offense, you're going to see a lot more guys getting to first base, trying to advance to second, using that speed, be aggressive on the base paths. We've seen both teams do that, by the way, which is really interesting. You're seeing both these lineups kind of built very similar.
It's almost that understanding that your opportunities will be limited. So when you have them, you've got to take it, even if it means potentially running into an out on the base paths. You're willing to risk that.
That's right. And you've got other teams that are kind of built for the long ball. And look, when the long ball's not working, you run into that premier pitcher who's kind of a shutdown guy, then how do you generate runs, right? How do you manufacture runs? And that's what these two clubs do really well. Get guys on base, use that speed to create some havoc and put pressure on defenses.
Leboki just racing through this at bat. Gets up 0-2 quickly on Braden Taylor before missing with a fastball high and outside. Taylor a strikeout and a base hit in his 2 ABs against USA Collegiate National Team teammate Carter Holton, now facing Leboki. And just misses outside, cracking the glove of Bulger. It creates a situation where both teams just look very at ease and comfortable with their style of game. Even though it's game 1 and there are jitters, it's two teams who look like they've already settled in. Swing and a miss. Taylor can't catch up to the cheese.
Yeah, two teams that are very mature, and There's a couple of young guys in each of the lineups, but for the most part, some seasoned guys have been around the game for a while and understand the collegiate game. But yeah, Blokey going upstairs there to retire Braden Taylor, second time he struck out. He's chasing a couple of bad pitches.
This curveball gets away, went right into that elbow guard of Curtis Byrne, and he'll happily take a trot down to first with 2 outs on a first pitch breaking ball.
I think Jack Bolger, the catcher, was questioning home plate umpire Michael Banks. Did he stick that elbow out with that elbow guard? And Michael Banks is trying to explain to Tim Corbin he did not do that. Well, there's a little bit of an argument developing here, but
I mean, you could make the case if you're.
Does he want to review
you can
it?
See why Tim Corbin, is frustrated with that.
And that is something that is reviewable. So Corbin out of the dugout now. I think he does want to take a second look at this. Now he's asking probably Michael Banks, do I have to use one of my challenges, or will you take a look at it yourself? That may be the conversation.
So usually what you see is the group of umpires all come out together, and they will first determine whether that is something that they will take a look at themselves. If not, then it's up to the coach to use one of his challenges. And Tim Corbin is apparently satisfied with that explanation for Michael Banks, our home plate umpire. So he goes back to the dugout. It's a 2-out hit by pitch for Byrne, as David Bishop tries to keep the inning alive for TCU. So you have Loboki, a new look guy who's back after 1.5 years rehabbing from Tommy John, up against Bishop, who gained about 20 pounds of muscle in the offseason. Really good looking player who was an all freshman team member a season ago, but looking to improve on his .261 average from last year. Called strike 3. As Loboki works around the 2-out hit by pitch, ends up with 3 Ks in the inning. We've played 5 on game number 2 of 3, opening day of the 2023 college baseball season. 2-2 between Vanderbilt and TCU.
At Higginbotham, for 75 years, we've put you at the center of everything we do. The people you care about, your community, your business, your success. We listen to what's most important to you, because that's what's most important to us. People First service drives us. Leading with values defines us. But you make us. Higginbotham. Insurance, HR, and financial services. Inspired by you.
Welcome back to Globe Life Field with a look at second-year head coach Kirk Saarloos. The former Cal State Fullerton Titan enjoyed a 7-year big league career and has come on over to Fort Worth, spent 8 years as the pitching coach under Jim Schlossnagle before taking over last year. And the transition has been immediately impactful for Saarloos, 2022 Big 12 Coach of the Year. Has done a great job already. Just getting started, you would think, Pat, is in his tenure as a D1 baseball coach.
Yeah, very well liked and very respectable coach. And I know TCU went outside and interviewed a number of other candidates, but it always came back to Kirk Saarloos. Just, you know, he was kind of the next guy in line for that job. I just felt like he had earned it, and certainly has proved his way here after this first year. Really successful first year. Of course, the Frogs went 38-22 last year. Lost to Texas A&M in the College Station Regional, but won the Big 12. Back-to-back Big 12 titles for the Frogs.
And his opening day starter, Ryan Vanderhei, stays in the game his 6th inning of work. Only 59 pitches through 5 innings for Ryan Vanderhei.
Yeah, he's been really efficient.
Faces Davis Diaz, the number 9 hole hitter for Vanderbilt, to start the frame. He gets a wave and a miss. Vanderhei, he walks 64 batters in a little over 106 innings last year. How much, Pat, do you believe now pitching for a former big league sinker baller like Kirk Saarloos has helped Vanderhei in his development?
Oh, I think it's helped a ton. I think that's one of the reasons why Vanderhei wanted to come to TCU, was to play for a guy like Kirk Saarloos, who's really good at developing pitchers. But you know, Kirk said in the fall he just did everything really well when we made adjustments with his mechanics, made adjustments with his arm angle, you know, introduced the concept of mixing up that 2-seamer, 4-seamer look. And he said he just excelled at everything and really stepped in. And I'm sure when he arrived at TCU, Saarloos was hoping he could become one of the starters, but now he's really established himself as the Friday night guy. And if he continues to pitch like this, there's good reason to believe
no doubt
he'll keep that role.
It was the changeup that was the big talk around campus this fall, that they were seeing him rely. Vanderhei was relying a little bit too much on the changeup in the past. Just wanted him to work in his slider a little bit more effectively, get a more even mix of pitches. Here he barely misses, trying to go front door slider on 2-2. And they wanted that changeup to be more of a weapon. He called the slider a sort of pacifier in the past for Vanderhei. Maybe it wasn't a dominant pitch, but he relied on it a ton in tough situations for Kansas, so they've gotten a better mix out of him. Oh, but he hits Diaz on 3-2. This time the slider gets away from him. And Diaz is a leadoff man aboard for Vanderbilt to start the 6th inning.
Yeah, it has been a dominant pitch for him today, and you're exactly right. That one just backed up on him and got away, and Diaz earns the leadoff base runner for Vanderbilt.
With Enrique Bradfield Jr. coming up top of the order, and that was pitch number 66. So assuming most of the guys this weekend are at around that 60 to 70 pitch limit, it looks like that will be it. So a 7-pitch batter, and it was probably going to be a short lease for Vanderhei coming out in this inning, and the call to the bullpen has been made. As River Ridings, honorable mention All Big 12 reliever a season ago out of Plano, Texas, is set to come in. Big matchup for Ridings as he battles Enrique Bradfield Jr. when we return. 2-2 game right here on Flow Sports. Is River Ridings the first reliever out of Kirk Saarloos' bullpen for TCU? Last year's Horned Frog closer with 10 saves comes in a big moment. 2-2 game in the top of the 6th with the leadoff man aboard, set to face the most dangerous hitter for Vanderbilt, Enrique Bradfield Jr. A tough lefty to face, though, Pat, out of that TCU bullpen.
Yeah, no doubt. Great stuff from River Ridings, and this hallmark pitch is that slider. It's a tough one, especially on left-handed hitters, and I think that part of this move is to create that matchup that Kirk Saarloos wants against Enrique Bradfield Jr. But River Ridings, as you mentioned, had that closer role last year and was really effective in that role. Put together some great numbers, and here he finds himself coming in a what would typically be kind of a mid-relief role, but certainly a critical piece of the ball game here. Saarloos wanting somebody that has been effective in the past, understands how to pitch. And River Ridings gets the call.
10 saves a year ago and is one of 2 different Prestonwood Christian Academy alums on this TCU pitching staff, each from Plano. It's Ridings and Luke Savage, who was a first-team All Big 12 reliever a season ago, expected to play another big role this year. So it's that deceptive, funky delivery that makes Ridings really tough to pick up. We'll see how the matchup plays out against Enrique Bradfield Jr. It's the 45th career appearance for Ridings, all but 2 of those coming out of the bullpen with 11 career saves, .342 career ERA. As Ridings now has to face Enrique Bradfield Jr. I guess it does make sense, Pat, that a game that has been played to such a high level so far, it's sort of being managed by Kirk Saarloos like it's the 9th inning. Even though we're in inning 6, it kind of feels like whoever scores next is going to have a huge edge down the stretch.
You know, I think that's what you have to have when you're looking at a game like this, is what's that key moment that you've got to have your best pitcher facing this lineup at this particular spot in the game. And with Bradfield Jr. at bat, and of course Diaz earning the leadoff on base there with the hit batter. Yeah, this is the most critical piece of the game right now. This is where TCU has to get outs.
Bradfield Jr. has the benefit of having a speedster right in front of him, Davis Diaz, who didn't run a ton last year, and that was mostly because he struggled getting on base. Only hit .213 his freshman year as a starter, but Diaz has already shown to be much more of a force today with a triple and a hit by pitch. Here it's Bradfield Jr. who swings through a changeup in the bottom part of the zone, and it's 1-2.
And that low 3/4 arm slot by River Ridings, it's really effective against those lefties. That ball comes out of an angle that feels like it's coming directly at you, then cuts across the plate with that slider.
Just stays alive, does Bradfield. Enrique Bradfield Jr. from Hialeah in Florida was coached by Bruce Avon, who was a 6-year big leaguer for the Cleveland Club in the late 90s, early 2000s, and Coach Avon compared Bradfield Jr. to one of his teammates, Kenny Lofton. It's not a bad comp. And Bradfield Jr. has lived up to that hype so far throughout his college career, as this throw comes to first towards Diaz.
Yeah, definitely that kind of speed. That's a great comparison.
And you know it's a legit comp when that is your high school coach, who was literally a teammate in the same dugout, locker room with a guy like Kenny Lofton. See if Bradfield can put one in play. 1-2 the count. Called strike 3, locked him up on the outer edge, and it's a first out of the inning. Big one to get for Ridings.
Yeah, that time Ridings goes fastball up and away in the zone and catches the top part of it. Really mixed his pitches well. That pitch sequence was masterful. That time getting the call with the pitch, just catching that outside corner.
So Bradfield down on strikes. Polk showing bunt but pulls it back. And this is where that real identity of the Vanderbilt lineup is still to be determined, right? Will they be in a position to go small ball, try to move a runner over, get a base hit, or are they, under Tim Corbin, going to be content to swing the bats and try to use their speed in that way?
Yeah, I was a little surprised that Bradfield Jr. didn't try to at least bunt. Try for that drag bunt, maybe down first base side, and worst case scenario, he's out at first and you move Diaz over to second base. But
Polk with that foul tip into the glove of Byrne. He singled in his first career AB last year as a freshman against Army, but didn't get a ton of playing time. He had the ignominious distinction, was the final out of the game against Oregon State last year that ended Vanderbilt's season. But looking to have a big year now in the starting rotation as he fouls one off. So you go from only starting 7 games, Pat, to the number 2 hole hitter on the opening day lineup. That's a big jump for Matthew Polk, but the coaches are confident that he is a super utility type player who can really be used anywhere.
Yeah, really attacks the game, plays a lot of energy.
Out in front of this breaking ball and serves it into center. Nunez right there makes the catch for out number 2. That's a theme you would probably say with what, half the new starting lineup this year, of guys who have either been in a backup role or are newcomers who are highly touted. It's just, can they do it now and do it at a really high level that people expect at Vanderbilt, where the spotlight is always on you.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, coaches talk about this all the time. There's guys that hit well in the cage, guys that perform well in practice, but when those lights go on, you know, how's it going to translate?
R.J. Schreck is certainly a guy who had his game translate to the college level. Was a walk-on at Duke. All he did was ultimately earn third-team All-ACC honors and lead Duke to an ACC tournament title in his 4 years. And now opens up his grad transfer season with Vanderbilt as the #3 hitter on opening day. Has popped out a couple times, shallow in the outfield.
Yeah, Coach Tim Corbin said he's really been the perfect fit and complement to an already strong outfield. But to come in and take that 3-hole, and if he can produce out of that 3-hole, that would fill some huge shoes that left in the draft last year in the way of Spencer Jones for Vanderbilt.
And Coach Corbin and Vanderbilt, they felt like they had something special right away. The Commodores went to Las Vegas for a fall scrimmage, and Schreck had a homer that was 108 miles an hour off the bat in that scrimmage, and earning the respect from River Ridings. He does draw a 4-pitch walk with 2 outs to move Diaz up to second.
Yeah, that'll bring Kirk Sarlos out of the dugout again, and TCU will make yet another pitching change this inning.
So with Bradfield Jr. and Schreck, those are the 2 guys Ridings was really brought in to face, along with the righty Matthew Polk. That will be it for Ridings, as Calvin Hewitt is due up next, and we'll step aside. Luke Savage, from one Prestonwood Christian Academy alum to another. Savage enters for TCU when we come back in a big spot in the 6th.
Dunia Sibumana, jungle kid. And he is from the Congo.
From what I know where Dunia is from, it's very dangerous. On one sunny day, they were playing on the edge of the jungle.
The chimpanzees just came out of nowhere and attacked me. It was just like shocking seeing a chimpanzee in front of me.
We will never know exactly what happened to Dunia that day. Dunia remembers waking up and seeing his face just hanging.
Wrestling saved his life, along with that park ranger in Virunga. He found his identity through wrestling, and he found his confidence through wrestling.
I would describe Dunia's wrestling style as exciting. You know, he takes it to you. He doesn't back down, doesn't take any time off. He's just on you, on you, on you.
I couldn't imagine his life at first when I came here. I just knew that it was a miracle that I was still alive, and things happen for a reason.
One Plano, Texas native to another. It's Luke Savage who now takes the ball in for River Ridings for TCU, and a key spot in this game. 2-2 between Vanderbilt and TCU. Vandy with 2 on, 2 out in the top of the 6th, and one of the best options, if not the best, based on the numbers from last year, Pat. It's Luke Savage coming in for Kirk Sarlos and TCU.
Yeah, he really was outstanding out of the bullpen last season. Now, Kirk Sarlos said, hey, at some point we may put him in the starting rotation, but for today, he's out of the bullpen. And like you said, Ben, some great numbers last season. He's got a little bit of a funk with him as well. He'll change his arm angle up. He'll go 3/4. He'll go over the top. But got a good sinking fastball, usually 92, 94. Now, he showed some flashes in the fall, getting that fastball up to 96. But Sarlos says, you know, that's starting to kind of flatten out at that level. So we like it down in that low 90s. That's where he gets better sink. He's got a curveball and a changeup complement as well. Calling into a situation here with a couple of Commodores on the base paths.
And so while in the future, Coach Sarlos says they're going to give him every opportunity of becoming a starter, right now it's a relief role, and his first pitch of the season hits Calvin Hewitt to load the bases. the second hit batsman of the inning.
That's a fastball just got away from Savage, and you said ball start out inside corner, it just trails in, catches Hewitt on the hand.
Which brings up one of the most experienced players for Vanderbilt, the fourth-year junior Parker Noland, who is the active leader. This is his 132nd career game. And those Vandy pinstripes with the bases loaded, 2-2 game in the top of the sixth.
Yeah, fastball just missed up out of the zone. That's not where Luke Savage typically likes to play. He's better when he's down.
Going further down, but missing, and it's 2-0 to Noland, who has flown out and grounded out so far. This is not a new venue by any means for Luke Savage. He's, if anything, as used to pitching here as any pitcher this weekend at Globe Life. Had 3 appearances last year alone, twice at the Big 12 tournament. But falls behind 3-0 after hitting Hewitt on his first pitch. So that's a hit batter and 3 straight balls. With nowhere to put Noland.
Yeah, Horned Frog pitching staff had only given up 1 freebie. That was back in the second inning when Vander High hit Calvin Hewitt. Now all of a sudden 3 in a row and on the verge of the 4th.
Able to find the zone on this 3-0 delivery with Noland taking all the way. Parker Noland, former Tennessee Mr. Baseball, after setting a team record, hit .520 as a junior. Swinging away on 3-1 and fouls it off. Pitch of the game so far coming up in a 2-2 deadlock, bases juice, top of the 6th. 2 outs and a 3-2 count. With Diaz at third, Schreck at second. And after getting hit a moment ago, Hewitt standing at first.
Vandy base runners will be in motion on this pitch.
Savage is ready. He missed it upstairs. Vandy takes the lead on the bases loaded walk.
A fastball again. It just trailed up and away from Savage and did not get the call. Parker Noland picks up the RBI, and that'll put the Commodores ahead here in the 6th.
It's the wrong team to lose your command against. It's an easy thing to say, Pat, but the reality is Vanderbilt led the SEC in stolen bases last year. They were a team that led the conference in sacrifice bunts. They were top 5 in walks. It's just such a patient, veteran, disciplined approach. It's almost like they can sense blood in the water when an opposing pitcher is really struggling to hit his spots. So how will that manifest here for RJ Austin, the freshman in his first career game?
Yeah, it's the old saying, you know, if the pitcher wants to dig himself a hole, then the offense should let him. But you're exactly right. That comes down really to plate discipline and understanding the strike zone well, and then seeing if a pitcher is struggling with that command and just being patient. And that's exactly what you're seeing here from these Vanderbilt hitters. Being extremely patient, forcing Savage to come into the zone, and so far he's just really battled with that command.
2-1 to Austin. Swinging away, pops it to right field, but playable for Davis just on the edge of the warning track. Puts it away, and the side is retired. But 2 hit by pitches and a pair of walks, 1 with the bases loaded, put Vanderbilt on top for the 2nd time today. 3-2 as we head to the bottom of the 6th in Arlington.
Protecting what matters most is the mission that matters most. At Lockheed Martin, we know today's threats come from behind, above, and below, and we make sure those who serve stay ahead of them by connecting platforms necessary to dominate every domain across air, land, sea, space, and cyber, using technologies that protect in the same moment they detect. The mission is a safer, more secure world. Our promise is to help make it happen.
Vandy on top of TCU 3-2. Can the Horned Frogs respond with the 6, 7, 8 hitters due up? Luke Boyers, Cole Fontenelle, and Trey Richardson. But ever since Sam Leboke has come in out of the bullpen, first reliever for Vanderbilt, he has looked untouchable to this point. 3 strikeouts and has retired 5 batters. Only a hit by pitch, really the only blemish if you look at it so far, Pat, and that was kind of a controversial one at that, as Curtis Burns sort of leaned into a curveball in the last inning. Outside of that, it's been a really nice first appearance in a year and a half for Leboke.
Yeah, great command of his pitches, and I'm sure a lot of Vanderbilt fans just really happy to see him back on the rubber after spending 2 years recovering from that Tommy John surgery. But yeah, he has been sharp, throwing every one of his pitches for strikes and commanding it well.
Well, just as we say that, Luke Boyers tags one into center for a base hit. So leave it to Boyers, who put up all sorts of big numbers a season ago, at least in certain stretches, was enough to be named to the honorable mention All Big 12 team. And he starts the inning off with a base hit to bring up Fontenelle.
Well, Boyers gets a pitch elevated up in the zone after going down 0-1 in the count. Takes a nice short swing. Well, he keeps that barrel in the zone a long time, and right back up the middle for the base hit.
That has to feel good too for Boyers, who really struggled at Globe Life last year. Went just 2 for 23 between the Big 12 tournament and then the TCU additional series. The TCU played a full weekend series against Nebraska here last weekend, swept the Huskers, so had 6 games overall. But Boyers struggled. That is at least a mark for him to get a base knock, his first of the season, and now watches his teammate Fontenelle in his first game as a D1 player, transferring in from the JUCO level. Wave and a miss for Fontenelle, who was a 3rd-team JUCO All-American last year at McLennan Junior College in Texas.
A really talented switch hitter and can play a lot of different positions as well. Gives Kirk Saarloos some different options in the outfield.
Gets him swinging though, as Leboke uses that fastball with good movement. Fontenelle can't make contact, and it's a first out of the 6th.
Yeah, Fontenelle chasing the fastball up and away, and some good life in that pitch from Leboke, and he has really changed eye levels well, gone up and down in the zone.
With Trey Richardson coming up, you just feel from watching Leboke, like when he's throwing the curveball for strikes, the way his arm rotation comes up over the top, even though the fastball's only in the low 90s, it just makes it 10 times harder to actually hit.
Yeah, it looks harder than low 90s. I mean, it's, you watch the TCU hitters, their swings and misses, and they're behind that fastball.
There's another curve pounded in for a strike on Trey Richardson, who started every game over the past 2 seasons for Baylor. A 4th-year junior from Kingwood, Texas.
It makes it so difficult on hitters when that pitcher can get that first pitch breaking ball located, and just opens up the entire repertoire. Now what do you look for? What are you trying to sit on here?
Richardson bunting. This time it goes foul. And the question will be, long term, where is Leboke used in the rotation? Could he be a starter at some point? Will he be that multi-inning eater in the middle of games, or could he be a back-end closer type? It or at least early feels like there are a lot of possibilities for Leboke with the stuff he has.
Yeah, there really are, and I think it's just a matter of building up that arm strength. And of course, we talk about you know, how far do you let him go here? Well, only 29 pitches into this outing. He's been so efficient so far. That's what happens. Good things happen when you throw strikes, and he is making TCU's hitters swing. And typically not at pitches that they can connect with. That was a defensive swing on a fastball up in the zone there by Richardson.
Up ahead 0-2 on Trey Richardson. who doubled off the wall his last time up. That's the closest we have come so far, Pat, in the first 2 games to a long ball here at Globe Life.
We've had a couple hit foul, but that one definitely scaled up the wall there in right field.
Hacks this one down into the field turf foul. Richardson hit 7 over 3 seasons at Baylor and was honorable mention All Big 12 a couple years ago in 2021.
He was very consistent middle infielder for the Bears and a pretty good situational type hitter.
Boyers had that leadoff single up the middle with 1 on, 1 out in the 6th. Richardson turns on 1 to left. 2 singles in the inning, and TCU looks to make that immediate response after Vanderbilt took the lead in the top half.
Well, Vanderbilt did it with 3 bases. TCU is having to earn it. They are doing a good job. That time a 2-strike pitch, breaking ball up in the zone, and Richardson makes a nice adjustment. You saw him pull those hands in. Able to get that barrel to it. Good piece of 2-strike hitting from Trey Richardson.
And even though Anthony Silva is in the 9-hole, this is the sort of player that Kirk Saarloos wanted in a moment like this. Comes in as a true freshman, opening day starter at shortstop. He told us there's a reason that his team, his program, did not go into the transfer portal. They didn't want a big name shortstop. They were really comfortable and happy with what they had in Silva coming in. And his first chance to make a big impression in a mega spot right now. Good fastball, catches the outside corner. 1-2 to Silva. As he stays alive, popping it foul. Still did enough in preseason to earn that starting spot, even though he was banged up in the fall, injured throughout most of the early preseason workouts. But a guy who comes in ranked as a top 10 prospect in a couple years' time for the draft and a top 5 freshman in the Big 12 right away.
Yeah, player Kirk Saarloos is definitely excited about.
That ball is just foul.
I think only it was off his leg.
Yeah, I think it did make contact. That did stay fair technically, but it just grazed the leg of Silva on the way down. A lot of balls chopped right down at the plate or right in front of it so far today. There's the look, right off the foot.
Definitely off his foot.
Silva digs back in against Sam Leboki. And we'll get the reset. Leboki, his first appearance since the middle of the 2021 season. Swing and a miss. Gets Silva out in front with the curve. So it's been punch, counter punch this inning. Base hit, strikeout, base hit, strikeout.
Yeah, just a great attack there by Leboki, and the pitch sequence was really outstanding. He went outside to set him up, came inside hard with the fastball, the one he fouled off his foot, then throws that breaking ball down and away, and yeah, Silva had no chance with that swing.
You talk about making first impressions. You can do it as a true freshman, you can do it as a transfer coming in, and that's what Austin Davis has already done today, showing his speed on the base paths, reaching once and 3 times. But a guy who's had a flair for the dramatic, had a robbing catch of a potential grand slam a couple years ago against Texas in the Big 12 tournament back when it was in Oklahoma City. As the former West Virginia Mountaineer now steps in and earns a 2-0 count.
Yeah, don't let the build fool you. He's smaller in stature, but he has a lot of pop of the bat.
He hit .313 over 4 seasons in 164 games for West Virginia. And right on that fastball, popping it foul. TCU has out-hit Vanderbilt so far 6-2, but Vandy has perfected the art of the small ball today. Fastball right in for a strike. Davis was waiting perhaps for that curve, Pat, that's been giving LeBocki a lot of success, and was not ready for the fastball.
Yeah, good fastball down in the zone, just catches the bottom of it. And catcher Jack Bolger does a good job of picking that glove up and framing it nice.
And we'll do it again on 2-2 with Davis, the Orlando native, against LeBocki from LA.
Yeah, LeBocki went up with the fastball that time. We'll see if he comes back with the breaking ball. That's been his strikeout pitch today.
Outside on 2-2, yeah. Trying to catch that outside edge. And in a game that's had a postseason feel already, he had another moment in a 3-2 count in a 3-2 game, bottom of the 6th and 2 outs. LeBocki's first college appearance in a year and a half. Against Davis, he missed it high, trying to go off speed. And Davis is firing up the fans with Elijah Nunez coming up, and the bases full of Horned Frogs.
Well, you said earlier, Ben, it's a punch counter punch with these two teams.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, TCU gave up a few of the freebies last inning that allowed Vanderbilt to capture the lead, and now LeBocki with the walk to load the bases after a couple of base hits, and Scott Brown out of the dugout for Vanderbilt. They do have an arm warming up. See what Vanderbilt chooses to do here. Looks like Brown's just going to have the conversation, try to calm LeBocki down.
Such a big asset for Tim Corbin to have a pitching coach like Scott Brown on his staff. They call him Brownie, very developmental centric type pitching coach who really prefers athletic type pitchers. He can sort of mold into his preferred method of pitching. You get a double box look too at the bullpen for Vanderbilt with some double barreled action starting to warm. A long history though of elite pitching coaches. Derek Johnson, now the Cincinnati Reds pitching coach in the majors, and Scott Brown in his 11th year following Johnson.
Yeah, Tim Corbin has been blessed with some great pitching coaches, and certainly Scott Brown. How about 35 pitchers selected in the Major League Draft?
Is that good?
12 in the first 3 rounds.
Jeez.
That's tremendous, yeah.
And we're talking 11 seasons now, Scott Brown.
Man.
It's not like this has been over 3 decades. We'll see what his message has done for Sam LeBocki, who misses outside on a 0-1 curve to Elijah Nunez. One of the toughest players to strike out in the game. He was top 8 in the country with 58 walks last year. And works the count to 2-1.
Well, a ton of speed on the base paths and at the plate. See Vanderbilt's defense, first and third are playing in. A few steps off the grass, middle infield back, but up a step.
Jam shot foul.
Nunez always a tough out.
Fans getting into it for the first time today for TCU. The 2-2 is down in the dirt. Once again, the count runs full. This time with the bases loaded. TCU dugout getting into it. Same for the Horned Frog fans, and here we go. Driven down the right field line. Fair ball. The bases will be cleared as Elijah Nunez delivers.
come the TCU chance, right? And
big time delivery.
Huge delivery
for a local kid, and Elijah Nunez playing in his backyard of Arlington.
Yeah, the full count by Leboki, and he had to come in with the fastball, and Nunez just had it lined up. Nice job. Pulls the hands in, gets the ball shot down the right field line. It stays fair by about 10 feet. And with all that speed, 3 Horned Frogs come around to score. That gives the Frogs the lead.
What a moment. Nunez delivering strength on strength, and took a good pitch from Leboki and keeps it fair down the right field line. You see what it means to the TCU dugout. As Taylor gets into one to right, back goes Shrek, running out of room, and it's gone! A 6th inning explosion for TCU to take a 7-3 lead.
Well, what a swing by Braden Taylor. We talked about in pregame, he was the featured player, really the catalyst of this TCU Horned Frog offense. He also added strength in the offseason. His power numbers were already good last year, 13 home runs a season ago, but when he gets a hold of that fastball offering and crushes it about 15 rows up here at Globe Life Field in Arlington. Yeah, that's a no-doubter. How about a hanging breaking ball?
We knew one was coming, Pat. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, that breaking ball just kind of stayed in the middle of the zone.
This ball's hit pretty well by Byrne. Bradfield Jr. has room and makes the catch. TCU had been threatening, but the bats fully wake up in the 6th. The bases clearing double by Elijah Nunez. A 2-run homer by Braden Taylor on the next AB. A 5 spot for the Horned Frogs. They lead at 7-3 heading to the 7th.
That was a bomb.
They're seeing at the moment a 5 spot in the bottom of the 6th. With the 2 big blows, the Elijah Nunez bases clearing double and a Braden Taylor home run about 10 rows deep to right center field. Now the question, how can Vanderbilt respond?
That's right.
9 outs to work with, but Pat, it hasn't really been runs in bunches. It's just been the small ball. Vanderbilt as a team just 2 of 18 at the plate today.
Yeah, that was the big question mark, I think, for Vandy coming in to the season was, you know, how will this offense generate production? Of course, you always think they're going to rely on the pitching to keep games close. But when that doesn't happen, who can they count on to put some tallies on the board? And that's the challenge now that's facing the Commodores.
It starts with Jonathan Vastine at the plate. They call Vasty. Coach Tim Corbin says he's one of the best pure athletes on the team. As he watches an 0-2 fastball just miss wide from Luke Savage back on the mound after finishing out the top half of the 6th. Punch to the left side. That's a good way to start if Vanderbilt's trying to answer. The guy they call Vasty with his 2nd consecutive base knock had a single back in the 5th. Now he's on board for Jack Bulger.
Well, it's been a bunch of counter punches and punches. It's a lot of body blows.
It's been a good one.
Until the big knockout punch last inning with Nunez and Braden Taylor. But certainly Vanderbilt, when they start to get things rolling offensively, that's what you're going to see. Guys getting on base, using that speed. Now being down 4 runs, will that limit Vanderbilt's ability to run?
And knowing that Enrique Bradfield Jr. is in the hole right now, do you do everything in your power to try to set up the big inning, get at least a couple on with him coming up?
Well, that's going to be the plan right now, is how can we get Bulger, Diaz, Bradfield moving so we can get to Polk and Schreck. Both have quite a bit of pop. See if they can't get back in the game this inning.
Bulger fouls it back. 3rd year as a starter for head coach Tim Corbin. Well, it's a cool origin story. He's not exactly from a baseball powerhouse, Bowie, Maryland, but he grew up just a couple minutes away from Prince George's Stadium, which is where the Bowie Bay Sox, AA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles, play. So he would just hang out as a kid every game, right down the first base line, trying to get foul balls. And he ended up befriending Eric Crozier, who was a longtime minor leaguer, made it to the Blue Jays eventually in 2014. And, it's always sparse crowds at those minor league games. So Crozier, he saw the same kid, Jack Bulger, just hanging out down the first base line and befriended him, and they've ended up staying in touch. And he calls Crozier a pretty significant mentor for him now that he's made it to D1. Hits one hard to center. Nunez back with a beat and makes the catch in that deep right center field area. It's a tag and a nice advancement by Vastine, who read that well off the bat, goes from 1st to 2nd.
Yeah, great job by Nunez defensively. You saw him turn those hips quickly and really track the ball well off the bat of Bulger.
Wow, they say Vastine left early. Oh, man.
We're just trying to give him some credit for tagging up and taking advantage of the
we'll have
deep fly ball. Yeah,
we'll have to piece this one together because Vastine tags up. Now that first base marker, it's right in front of the TCU dugout. The dugout immediately started signaling for Trey Richardson to throw to first and David Bishop. They thought he left early, and now Tim Corbin, you would think in this situation, would use his challenge, and it looks like he will.
Yeah, but even if Vastine was a tad early, you've got to challenge this, because now you're getting to the point of the game where that runner means a ton for Vanderbilt. So it is a reviewable play, a runner leaving base early, which was the ruling on the field. Vastine took off early after the catch in center field by Elijah Nunez, and Michael Banks is signaling that Tim Corbin will use a challenge here.
Shane Matheny was the first base ump he was the one who determined that the runner in Vastine left early. So we'll have to try and do our best to piece this together. So when the catch is made, is the foot off the bag?
Yeah, can't tell with that angle. Yeah, that's going to be the question. Where do you have a picture of the base runner as the catch is being made? Which camera can pick that up? Now we're going to get the box working here for us.
That's why we have the best of the business here.
That's right.
We bring it together.
Well, that was really close. Yeah, his body's moving as the catch is being made, but the question is, was the foot off the bag?
Looked like the foot was, it looks like it's on the bag right there.
Sure does.
Now the classic question is, do you consider that definitive evidence? But it looked like he was on the bag to me.
Yeah. I think the deceptiveness was he started pumping his arm before the catch was made, and that may have been what Shane Matheny thought was him off the bag. But just looking at these replays, that looks like Vastine had that right foot on the bag as the catch is made.
Well, you're 1 for 1 so far with your challenge guesses this year, so I will, because this is so close, Pat, I don't want to make you put your
I'm going to say it's going to get overturned. I'm going to say Vastine
I would have said the same thing.
Is safe at second.
Yeah. I'm just looking out for your average, Pat.
Thank you, man.
It's opening day, you're 1 for 1.
Sometimes you got to take that risk. You know, you
gotta put
high
yourself out
risk,
there.
high reward, right? So we're going to take the risk here. Now, they are going to say that the play is upheld, so I'm 1 for 2 now, but yeah, awfully close. And I don't know if it comes down to, did they have enough evidence to change the call, or
I think, yeah,
he's out.
Vastine,
Yeah.
Vastine is,
All right.
is out there. So
2 for 2 now.
You know, the signal that was made, he was coming out of the tunnel there. So yeah, they do reverse the call, and you and I both believe, Pat, that was the right call. Vastine just barely, it was close, but just barely had his foot still on the base at the time of the fly ball being caught. So he will successfully tag. And that now it puts Vanderbilt in a position where if Diaz is able to reach, he put up Enrique Bradfield Jr. with 2 on and 1 out in a 4-run game.
Well, great use of a replay by Tim Corbett. I'm sure, you know, they're in the dugout saying, hey, should we use it here? Is that, and I think there was no doubt in his mind he was going to come out and challenge that. Just at this stage in the game, that runner at second base, Vastine, is really important for Vanderbilt.
An 0-2 count now to Davis Diaz. Great work, too, done by our crew. It's been a fun first day here with the whole Flow Sports team back for another year. Max McGilligan, our lead producer, everybody else helping out, doing a great job. Still one more game tonight. Danny Lee and Mike Harge will have the nightcap, Arkansas and Texas. And the lower bowl here at Globe Life, Pat, pretty much filled up already. Fans were here pretty early, getting set for the TCU Vandy game and already filing in for the nightcap.
Now, Tim Corbin has to also be thinking that if Vanderbilt does get that run across and they do mount some type of rally, I think it's going to have to be steak dinners for our camera guys. What do you think? He's going to have to shell out some dinner money.
There are quite a few good opportunities around this area as this pitch is in there, called strike 3. After the belated call, Diaz is rung up for out number 2.
A nasty slider just catches the bottom of the strike zone by Luke Savage and freezes Diaz. Good job by Curtis Burns, frame that up for home plate umpire Michael Banks. Number 2.
Credit Luke Savage with the way he has bounced back this inning with the command. He looked lost when he entered the game last inning, and has Bradfield Jr. out in front here on the first pitch.
Yeah, first pitch changeup. Good movement down and away from Bradfield Jr. on that pitch.
Yeah, remember, Savage came in, it was a hit by pitch and then a bases loaded walk to Parker Noland, which gave Vanderbilt the lead at the time. Just misses on the fastball. Now, Luke Savage has one of the cooler stories of any player in this tournament, or for that matter college baseball in general. He started a nonprofit during the pandemic called Blessed Feet to provide underprivileged kids in the Dominican Republic with donated athletic shoes and cleats, and that's now been expanded to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And just a great story for a kid who just wanted to do something during the pandemic and found a way to give back, and here he is today in a big role for TCU on the mound.
Yeah, that has become quite a nonprofit, with now thousands of pairs of shoes coming in from all over the country as that word got out of what Luke Savage started here.
Called strike 3. He gets Bradfield Jr. looking. 2 massive punch outs for Savage as we've reached stretch time. TCU on top 7-3 as we go to the bottom of the 7th here on Flow Sports. So are you staying at that thing that just opened? Damn, look at you. I didn't get that treatment.
What's that? Oh, do you? Yeah.
It's like one of those extended stays.
Which hotel is it?
This was an incredibly tight game until the bottom of the 6th. Elijah Nunez's bases clearing double started a massive 5-run inning for TCU to take a 4-run advantage.
Yeah, huge swing there on with the bases loaded and 3-2 count. And then right behind him, Braden Taylor hits an absolute bomb. About 15 rows up. That's one he'll never forget. Here at Globe Life. Just an absolute tater.
Just amazing how in such a tight game, just felt like we were one big blow. That would be the decider. And obviously still a lot of game to be played as we go to the bottom of the 7th. But it's been TCU who's come up with the goods in the big moments. Have only conceded 3 Vanderbilt hits today and take a 7-3 lead. Now looking to tack on some more with the 5 through 7 hitters, starting with David Bishop coming to the plate.
Well, we often talk in baseball, Ben, about the teams that come through with those 2-out hits typically have a better chance of winning the game. I think the percentages are really high when you look at the stats overall in baseball, and that certainly is the case here today in both of the games. These first 2 games of the Globe Life Showdown, it's been a number of big key hits with 2 outs in an inning, and certainly Vanderbilt had their chances in the inning. In the 6th inning, they loaded the bases, only scored the 1 run on the hit batter. They certainly had an opportunity to score more than that. Just could not come up with a big hit, but TCU has done it.
And the comparison on that so far, TCU 3 for 9 with 2 outs, Vanderbilt 0 for 7. And the Commodores 0 for 8 with runners on base so far today. That's all you need to know about the deficit and how we've gotten to that point. While TCU will face a new pitcher, we saw Grayson Moore a second ago. The Longwood, Florida native. Saw some spot appearances a season ago. A lot of people believe, Pat, this is a guy who could make a big leap in that Vanderbilt bullpen after striking out over 13 per 9 innings, but was limited to just 16 appearances a season ago.
And Tim Corbin said, man, he's just really one of the most improved pitchers on the staff, and a mature, consistent, trusted, committed, kind of an all-in guy for Vanderbilt. He'd worked really hard in the weight room and the pitching lab to gain improvements, and they're certainly excited about what they have seen in terms of his growth and development in the past few months.
He's also a two-way player as well, a switch hitter for that matter on the hitting side. And they eventually, as this ball's popped up and will go foul, eventually, from what Vanderbilt decided to do, at least with their staff, he had a guy who was super talented in both ends, but they really valued what he brought as a switch hitter, but just decided his upside as an arm was just too valuable to pass up. And so he's now into his 2nd year of fully focusing on just being a pitcher.
Yeah, I think it's really going to benefit him. You see the fastball mid-90s, but he's touched 98 with it. Just a really nice loose arm, and I think he's going to do nothing but get better as he focuses more on pitching.
Gets a pop out off the bat of Bishop for the first out to bring up Luke Boyers. Now, Boyers is the one who started that big 5-run rally last inning with a leadoff single. And that had to feel so good for a guy who had struggled historically in this ballpark. Was 0 for 12 in the Big 12 tournament last year and just 2 for 23 at Globe Life overall. Boyers has been a steady presence, though, in the TCU lineup. One of 2 players to start all 60 games last year for the Horned Frogs. Oh, gets drilled. That'll leave a mark. 92 coming inside, and it's Boyers who trots down, hit for the 2nd time today.
Yeah, Boyer's another one of those great athletes in that TCU lineup, and offers some great speed, although that may slow him down. You get doinked right in the hamstring.
Boyers has been on all 4 times today. A couple of hit by pitches, a single and a walk, and now Cole Fontenelle steps in against Grayson Moore. A guy who some feel could be a closer for Vanderbilt. Put up ridiculous numbers in the Cape last year, a .46 ERA in 19 1/3 innings. in a league just littered with top college baseball talent. Just misses on the 1-0 fastball. Fontenelle not a player that Moore faced, though, in the summer wood bat leagues. Fontenelle was actually playing up in Alaska after finishing his time at the JUCO level. Was actually originally a member of the Washington Huskies at the D1 level, but you think about, Pat, how many players have had success who maybe struggled, limited playing time as freshmen, go the JUCO route, all of a sudden find themselves, have a new confidence. That seems to be Fontenelle to a T. He only hit 177 as a freshman with Washington, but put up huge numbers in JUCO.
Yeah, some power numbers as well, and played for McLennan Community College there in Waco, and his former head coach Mitch Thompson moved over to Baylor. And Fontenelle finds himself in a Frog uniform.
So much competition within the Big 12 itself, and then also the Big 12 Texas schools for those top JUCO guys like a Fontenelle. Pat Combs, former Baylor Bear, not bitter about that at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Just making a point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like my guy Trey Richardson, like in,
of course,
getting out of that green and gold. Actually looks okay in purple. I can't complain. Ooh, behind it.
Breaking ball.
Yeah.
Way behind Fontenelle. And it is 3-1.
Yeah, great job by Bolger just to keep tracking that ball, but that pitch was about a foot behind Fontenelle. He's like, wow, did that just happen?
Yeah, Vanderbilt pitching been uncharacteristically erratic today with the command. As Fontenelle bangs it back off the screen. With only 3 walks, but when you add in an additional 4 hit by pitch,
yeah,
that's what really stands out. Yeah.
Yeah, 7 freebies, and that's very uncharacteristic.
The 3-2 to Fontenelle. Runner going, and that hits him. Wow. Second straight hit batsman, as Moore just does not have the feel at the moment.
No, it's been a struggle. Not been able to find the breaking ball, and now the fastball getting away a couple of times. You start seeing these TCU hitters come up with catcher's equipment on. It's
yeah.
5th time today. You know, some of this you chalk up to it's opening day. It's
for
jitters, and but once you get on that mound, man, that foot hits the rubber. Usually that stuff goes away, and it's now just a matter of dialing into the strike zone. And Grayson Moore getting himself into a pickle here with a couple of hit batters back to back.
And that's where, coming into the tournament, you figured maybe TCU would get a little bit more of an edge compared to the rest of the teams, having played not only the Big 12 tournament here last year, but a full weekend series. They played 6 games at Globe Life last year. Obviously, Texas, Oklahoma State also having that tournament experience as well. But at least the familiarity with the uniqueness of the park seeming to pay some dividends, at least in a couple of these moments so far.
There's a good slider from Moore. Well, Richardson, who really struggled in the fall, and even to the point where Kirk Sarlo said, hey, we've got to have some competition here at second base. We know what Richardson has done in the past at Baylor, but he has come in today and one of the few TCU hitters that has got a couple of hits in the game already.
And that was even squirrely from the pitcher, Grayson Moore. Basically decided to throw at the last second. And so Richardson, a guy who struggled with confidence at times in the fall, but has found it, especially to start the season, a single and a double. Facing Grayson Moore, who's a little shaky at the moment from his own command in that confidence perspective. Works the count to 1-2 after the pitch in the dirt.
Yeah, it's been the breaking ball. He just hasn't been able to quite find the release on that on that pitch. Looks like it has good spin, but just not commanding it.
Wow, look at that lead. The throw back to second, not in time. I mean, Luke Boyers took 3 massive steps toward third base, just trying to get in the head of Grayson Moore.
I think he was taking off on that pitch. Just kind of caught in between, but he has been trying to time up Grayson Moore, and that time just get a little too far off, maybe trying to guess.
Outside on 1 and 2. And that shows you just how far off Boyers had gone there. Had to make a pretty good effort.
Yeah,
just to
pretty
get back
athletic to get back.
Yeah. So a time is called, and this is the second time today now that we've seen a batter called for a called strike for being out of the batter's box after that 20-second pitch clock had run down. It happened in the first game today, and it happens here to Richardson with 2 strikes, and that is a called strike 3 as a result.
Yeah, we saw it in the first game, and they certainly, our umpires are going to uphold that 20-second rule, and Kirk Saarloos looked pretty disappointed about that call, but not much of an argument.
So Richardson is the victim of that ruling, as you mentioned. It's happened twice now today, 1 in each of the games. And Anthony Silva now steps in with 2 outs. Hey, if you're Grayson Moore, you will take that with the way this inning has gone. Ripped down the left field line. It's down. At least 1 will score for TCU. Fontenelle being waved around third, and he is in. 9-3 Horned Frogs.
Well, another huge 2-out swing. We just referred to it, Ben. Here's another one. This is where TCU has upped their production with these big 2-out base hits. This time in the form of a double by Silva, which plates another couple of runs in Boyers and Fontenelle. And yeah, Silva just gets a fastball up and in and just turns on it. He was sitting on that pitch.
Not a bad way to pick up your first collegiate hit. Anthony Silva, the true freshman from San Antonio, Texas, out of Clark High School. And drives in 2 to build the TCU lead now to 6. Yeah, against what is viewed, Pat, to be one of the premier pitching staffs in the country. Who would have seen this on opening day? TCU putting up a 9 spot, 7 runs in 2 innings.
Well, there are just very few question marks in this lineup. We talked about the level of maturity and just the experience that this TCU lineup brings. You know, that's really the transfers that Kirk Saarloos picked up were really to fill some holes in the lineup, and they have come out and produced big time today.
And Davis punches one to the right side. Here comes Silva to the plate. It's cut off. Another 2-out RBI knock for TCU.
Just absolute clutch hitting up and down this lineup.
Now 5 for 11 at the plate with runners in scoring position.
That was a pitch sequence where Grayson Moore gets up quickly, 0-2, and then leaves a pitch out over the plate and up in the zone, and Davis just goes the other way. We've talked about just shortening up swings with 2 strikes, which has been kind of a lost art in baseball the last number of years, but TCU doing a great job of that.
And Davis on the move, gets a good jump. He makes it in time. Austin Davis, who swiped 29 bags in 35 tries last year, has his first of the season. And TCU not at all resting on their laurels.
Not even a 9-3 lead or a 10-3 lead feels like enough. In some of these early season games, you want to get as many as you can, and Austin Davis not playing it safe. Puts himself in scoring position.
So with the knock by Davis, that's now 7 of the 9 Horned Frogs in the starting lineup with base hits today. Nunez had the big bases clearing double his last time up. It's been a tough half hour for Vandy. Led 3-2 going into the bottom of the 6th. 8 runs have crossed the plate over the last 2 half frames. And Nunez was the one who delivered the first big punch, that double down the right field line. Back up the middle, it's down, a base hit. Davis was on the move, he'll walk in to score. A 4 spot in the 7th for TCU.
And again, another pitch elevated in the zone. This is where Grayson Moore is just getting hurt. It's pitches up in the zone, and they're pretty flat. And TCU just taking advantage of it. That ball's up and away, out over the plate. Nunez just punches it into center field for the base hit. And yet another RBI. What a game he's putting together for the Frogs. And TCU extends that lead now 11-3.
And Braden Taylor, his last time up was a long ball, first of the season here at Globe Life. About 10 rows into the stands in right center. But it already feels, Pat, like the exclamation point has been made by TCU.
And TCU hitters just taking advantage of some pitches that have been elevated here for Moore, and another one there to Braden Taylor. Lucky to get that one back.
Oh, taking a home run sized hack on that 0-1 breaking ball.
And one of the better breaking balls we've seen from Moore. And that ball started out in the zone and dipped nicely. Good curveball there.
Now Moore nearing 30 pitches in his first inning of work. Runner going on 0-2, pitches outside, and another stolen base. Moore watches as Nunez steals the second bag for the Horned Frogs this inning.
And the Horned Frogs not letting up. 1-2 pitch delivery from Moore, and great jump by Nunez.
And TCU was 3rd in the Big 12 last year, stole over 100 bags. Fouled off on 1 and 2. Wave and a miss. Moore is able to capitalize on a good breaking ball with 2 strikes. Taylor strikes out, but a second big inning for TCU. The Horned Frogs have scored 9 over the last 2 frames and lead by a commanding 11-3 margin as we go to the 8th.
At Higginbotham, for 75 years, we've put you at the center of everything we do. The people you care about, your community, your business, your success. We listen to what's most important to you, because that's what's most important to us. People first service drives us. Leading with values defines us. But you make us. Higginbotham. Insurance, HR, and financial services. Inspired by you.
Let the next 50 range of seasons begin. Fresh start, blank space, with strong pieces in place. We're not through. There's work to do. Start the clock, watch our stock, y'all. This hope feels different. So, stir your imagination, embrace the anticipation. Let's earn a celebration. The arrow is up. Are you down?
The kids are enjoying day 1 of this 2023 college baseball season. So are the Horned Frog fans. 11-3. TCU leads Vanderbilt heading to the top of the 8th. Not a scoreline most would have predicted entering this marquee matchup. 2nd of 3 today from Globe Life Field, and we'll see what the Commodores have left in the tank with Matthew Polk leading off in the top half. But all smiles right now for the Horned Frog fans, with a bunch of Arkansas and Texas fans now starting to file in as well for the nightcap. That's our final game still to come here on Flow Sports. What's been a very fun opening day. First pitch, Matthew Polk skies one into shallow left center. Boyers comes on. He makes the call and the catch. Just one of those days, Pat, for Vanderbilt at the plate. We've not gotten anything going. 3 for 23 now as a team.
Yeah, the hits have been hard to come by, and I think you just got to credit the TCU pitching staff. Vanderbilt got off to a great start today and really mixed pitches up well, commanded the strike zone awfully good. And River Ridings came in and struggled a bit, but managed through it. And TCU has only really hurt themselves on the mound with a couple of hit batters and some walks, but they have made it awfully difficult for these Commodore hitters. Just not a lot of good pitches in the middle of the zone to swing at.
RJ Schreck gets jammed in on the hands with a slow roller handled by Richardson. 2 up, 2 down, as Luke Savage continues to deal on the mound. And usually, Pat, especially this early in the year, a guy comes in from the pen. Either he's got it and he's lights out and you're going, whoa, okay, he was ready, or it's the opposite and he's really struggling with command. But for Savage to come in and struggle the way he did the first couple batters and turn it around, that's been really impressive today for TCU.
Yeah, and he came into a pickle situation too with bases loaded. It's sometimes tough to get the first outing of the year. You got to come in that stressful situation, but yeah, you're right. Savage has really turned it around here when he got a clean inning to work with. He has been lights out. That mid-90s fastball has played well.
Hewitt back up the middle for a base hit. Vandy finally able to get a base knock. We'll see if they can do anything with it as it comes with 2 outs. Just the 4th hit of the game. With Parker Noland coming to the plate. You look at Savage now only at 34 pitches at this moment, as he's thrown now 2 innings of work, having come in with 2 outs, relieving River Ridings back in the 6th.
And that was the big concern coming in, Ben, of this season for Tim Corbin and the Commodores is, you know, how do you replace the offensive production that you got in the middle of that lineup? And it was, you know, you think about Spencer Jones, 12 home runs last year, 60 RBI. Dominic Keegan, you know, 14 home runs, 67 RBI. Javier Vaz, you know, 5 home runs, 30 RBI. I mean, it's just a lot of production to replace, and they just haven't found it yet.
Pretty good charge into this ball, but Nunez is there and makes the catch. Nolan gives it a good ride, but only to the warning track as the top of the 8th comes to an end. TCU rolling here on opening day from Globe Life Field. We go to the bottom of the 8th right after this. The Arkansas fans have made it to Globe Life Field, so have the Texas fans. We're getting ready for the nightcap. Arkansas and Texas to wrap up night 1 from the 2023 College Baseball Showdown presented by Higginbotham. We're on pace right now, Pat, for it to be Big 12 2, SEC nothing. Oklahoma State over Mizzou in the first game. And
yeah, bit of a turnaround.
TCU up handily right now, 11-3 to the bottom of the 8th on Vanderbilt.
Yeah, last year I think it was awfully lopsided. I think Big 12 only won 1 or 2 games last season in this opening showdown. What a showcase. How about, I'm kind of in between though, Ben. Is it the old Southwest Conference matchup with Arkansas and Texas?
I know.
Or is it the new SEC matchup? What do we do with that?
TCU, we're reminded by our producer, Max McGilligan, the only Big 12 team that won a game at
one game last year. Yep.
Yeah.
This could be a 2-0 start.
It's funny you bring up the Southwest Conference. You think about Arkansas and Texas, and we had Mizzou, Oklahoma State earlier. That also felt like a throwback.
Sure did.
Big 12 matchup as well. But it has been, after a very tight start, all TCU over the last 2 innings. We're down 3-2 going to the bottom of the 6th. Elijah Nunez changed the game with 1 swing of the bat, a bases clearing 2-out double. And it has been all Horned Frogs ever since. So Curtis Byrne leading off the bottom half. It's a new pitcher for Vanderbilt. Our first look at David Horn, true freshman out of Mission Viejo, California. A top 200 freshman prospect. Coaches say has really good upside, but gives up a stinger into the gap. This is over the head of Shrek and down for extra bases. Byrne digging for 2 and has a leadoff double. He becomes the 8th Horned Frog in the starting lineup to knock at least 1 base hit today.
Well, that was not a very kind welcome for the freshman pitcher for Vanderbilt. Curtis Byrne just continuing to add on here with these big-time swings from TCU, and just a pitch elevated in the zone. They're going to look at the tape tomorrow as Vanderbilt, and maybe tonight. Scott Brown's going to say, guys, we just made too many mistakes out over the plate with pitches that were elevated. When you do that, hitters just have to put the ball in the air. It'll travel. And it certainly has for TCU today.
Called strike in on David Bishop. Vanderbilt not getting any help, at least in the scheduling department, where they get the 2 early games each of the next 2. Oklahoma State, our first game tomorrow, 11 a.m. local start here in the Central Time Zone, and then 10:30 a.m. against Texas on Sunday. So at least for Vanderbilt, you lose a game like this, you're up and at 'em first thing in the morning. No time to wallow around.
Yeah, let's flush it quick and get on to the next one.
You and I will have the night game tomorrow night, TCU and Arkansas. Awkward hack from Bishop, who fouls it off. But just like Vanderbilt has a very busy non-conference slate, playing in that big showcase Big Ten tournament in Minneapolis, same goes for TCU. They have home series this year against Florida State, Cal State Fullerton, and San Diego, all coming to Fort Worth. Chopped, just foul.
Jack Bulger up out of his crouch really quickly, trying to keep that ball fair. Caught just behind the plate for a foul ball.
That keeps the AB alive for David Bishop. Had a double back in the 4th inning for TCU. TCU was picked as preseason favorites in the Big 12, with 5 of the 9 starters back from a season ago in the lineup, and all 3 top starting pitchers back. Swing and a miss on 1 and 2, and Bishop goes down. I did think it was interesting, though, Pat, in talking with head coach Kirk Saarloos for TCU. He's not someone to get caught up in all that. He was very open about the fact that this is going to be a really, really difficult Big 12. He doesn't care at all that they're preseason favorites. He doesn't view it that way whatsoever. That there's a bunch of teams who can win it this year.
No doubt, and he sounded as surprised as anybody when he said, "Look, Oklahoma State's loaded. You know, OU's got some decent guys coming back, but Texas Tech always is tough with Tim Tadlock's Red Raiders." And so, yeah, I think you know, Kirk Saarloos was a little bit surprised, but hey, you're the returning champion, and you know, a Big 12 Coach of the Year, first time a first-year coach has ever taken that award, and so I think that those lofty expectations were created, so you just got to live with them.
Yeah, there are worse places to be within the hierarchy of the Big 12, that's for sure. And as Boyers just stays alive on 0-2. Boyers looking to keep that streak going. His reach base all 4 times. Hit twice, a base hit and a walk. As you look at Kirk Saarloos resting on that dugout ledge, who has been part of some major league history before.
Sure has.
Swing and a miss. Boyers is down on strikes for the second out. Yeah, Kirk Saarloos, probably best known for being part of a 6-pitcher combine. Not just a combined no-hitter, Pat, but a 6-pitcher combined no-hitter. June 11th, 2003, as a member of the Astros against the New York Yankees. So he'll always be in the record books for that.
That was pretty cool. Yep. And a very accomplished pitcher himself. You know, at a couple of school records at his alma mater, Cal State Fullerton. 127 appearances, pitching a couple of College World Series back in the day.
Round 3 draft pick by the Astros back in 01. He has come in right away, 38-22 last year, taking over for a legendary head coach in Jim Schlossnagle. Immediately leading his team deep into a regional, loss to A&M, ironically, where Schlossnagle went last year in the first game of the regional final in College Station. But his team has certainly made a good first impression, that's for sure. High pop up. It's Horn who makes the call instead. It's the third baseman coming over. Austin makes the catch just in fair territory. As the inning comes to an end, Fontenelle popping out to third. Final ups for Vanderbilt coming up next, 11-3. It's been all TCU down the stretch here in Arlington. It was a tight game early, but the bats of TCU, they finally woke up starting in the 6th inning. That's been the story of this game, with the Horned Frogs up by 8. It has been extra base hits galore. 6 of them in all for TCU, Pat. Most coming since the 6th inning.
Yeah, it really came late and came often here in this game against Vanderbilt, and the bats came alive, and some guys that Kirk Saarloos was hoping he would see contribute, especially at the bottom of the lineup. Trey Richardson with a couple of hits, Anthony Silva with a big double, had a couple of RBI. And up and down this TCU lineup, it has been fun to watch here if you're a Horned Frog fan these last few innings.
And it's Luke Savage now trying to get the deal done. He is in line to be the winning pitcher. He came in, seems like it was ages ago, Pat, when it was the top of the 6th. Savage came in a 2-2 game and walked Parker Nolan with the bases loaded, which gave Vandy at the time a 3-2 lead. And not only did you think, well, Commodores have a huge edge now going to the late innings, but you also thought, all right, how many pitchers is Kirk Saarloos going to have to burn in the bullpen? Here we sit about an hour and a half later, and there's a chance for Savage to get out of this, and for TCU to only have to use 3 pitchers in a comfortable 11-3 win.
Yeah, and 2 of his top relievers from last year in River Ridings, who had 10 saves. We saw him make an appearance in the middle innings. We thought, wow, that's an interesting move, because you got at that point it was a tie game, and Riding is coming in middle of the game in the 6th inning, and then Savage right behind him. So it has worked out, though. Kirk Saarloos pulled the strings with his bullpen today. I thought he might take Savage out, maybe try to bring him back on Sunday, but you know, so early in the season, I think that the thinking here is just leave him in, let him finish this game, and he'll be burnt for the weekend. But you save another arm in the bullpen.
Meanwhile, R.J. Austin looking for his first collegiate hit, the true freshman, digging in against Luke Savage. There's Austin, whose dad Reggie was a great college DB at Wake Forest. And Austin spanks this one to center, but catches it just a little underneath with Nunez camping out. Makes the catch for the first down. Even though it was a quiet debut for Austin, we'll be seeing and hearing a lot more of him throughout the rest of this season.
Yeah, Dad played the NFL as well for the Buffalo Bills, and yeah, just great athlete, and just a matter of time before he collects that first hit. Tim Corbin certainly high on R.J. Austin. Thinks he is going to be some type of player here in the near future.
It's one of those days, especially for the hitters for Vanderbilt. And Commodore fans watching today are going to say, well, let's hope this doesn't become a trend, with 4 key pieces from the starting lineup leaving last year. 4 who were drafted in the first 15 rounds a season ago, including Spencer Jones, who went 25th overall to the New York Yankees. Some big shoes to fill for a lot of youngsters.
Yeah, you won't see any panic in that dugout in Vanderbilt. And you know, Tim Corbin's been around the game a long time, and it's first game. You chalk it up and you move on quickly. Like you said, Ben, at least they get to come back tomorrow morning early and play that first game and flush this one pretty quickly. Vandy will be fine. They've got some great arms. The pitching's going to be there. There's no doubt. It's just, I think, a matter of time before this lineup figures some things out. But they face some really good pitching out of TCU today.
With Jonathan Vastine digging in. You want to know what happened the last time, Pat, Vanderbilt opened the season in a non-conference showcase tournament and lost?
Love to hear it.
They won the national tournament.
There you go.
In 2019.
I was going to say, there's got to be a precedent for something there, Ben. I knew you were taking us somewhere.
They went to Scottsdale, lost to Michigan, who entered the year 13th. So you have TCU 15th to start this year. Vandy lost to Michigan opening day 2019, and ended up winning the whole thing. Vastine puts a charge into a ball to left center. That's back. It is high off the wall, and they say just over the yellow line. A home run for Vastine. Wow. Some opposite field power for Vastine.
Absolutely put a charge in a ball. Yeah, off the bat, I'm thinking it's a double in the gap, but that ball had some carry on it. So great backspin created by Jonathan Vastine, and he picks up the solo home run off the Savage. Great piece of hit. Boy, just stayed behind it nice and put the barrel on it.
You can see just how close that was, barely landing over that yellow line. A great moment for Jonathan Vastine, his first career homer. After only hitting 196 in just 12 starts a season ago, first career collegiate homer comes at Globe Life Field in Arlington.
What a great day he put together. 3 for 4 with that home run.
Draft eligible in 2024, a guy who's a top 50 SEC prospect for that draft.
So 3 of Vandy's 5 hits come in the form of Jonathan Vastine hitting out of that 7-hole for Vandy today.
And those are the types of players they are really banking on. Vanderbilt is stepping up, moving into key roles this year. As Jack Bolger digs in, down the count 1-2. Nubs it fair to the right side. Bishop takes it himself for the second out, and TCU is an out away from getting win number 1 on the season. So while Vanderbilt does have that history of making a deep run, even if they struggle early, you think about TCU and what they did last year. Bookended the regular season so well. Came out guns blazing. They were in the Scottsdale tournament last year, beat San Diego State in Houston on opening weekend, won their final 7 games to close the regular season, but it was that postseason that was a little bit harder to come by just from a consistency standpoint. Only 3-4 in the postseason end of the day. And that's obviously the area Kirk Saarloos wants to see the most improvement on once we get towards late May. This should end it. Pop up in foul territory. Taylor's over there and makes the catch. Diaz retired, and it's TCU who wins the battle of the big boys 11-4 over Vanderbilt.
Yeah, the Horned Frogs will celebrate today. That is a big win over Vanderbilt. Anytime you beat Vanderbilt, it's a big win, and certainly did it in pristine fashion with a number of great at-bats here late in the game. We talked about the 2-out RBI situations, and TCU capitalized on that. It was also been, I think, about the 2-strike situations that TCU shortened up their swings and put the ball in play and made some great things happen here at the tail end of this game and really broke it open late to defeat the Commodores.
That's the difference when you look at the 2-out hitting, 6 of 14 for TCU, just 1 of 10 for Vanderbilt. And how about Luke Savage for battling the way he did? He ends up going 3 1/3 out of the bullpen. Gives up just that single solo home run on 3 scattered hits and will end up being the winning pitcher. As he came in, inherited a sticky situation, walked Parker Nolan with the bases loaded, gave Vanderbilt the lead, but then saw his offense battle back. 8 runs between the 6th and 7th innings, the difference today for TCU. And it's just one game for Vanderbilt. Still a lot to like about what the Commodores have, as they were getting a couple of newcomers expecting to have bigger roles. Sam Leboki off Tommy John surgery, and Grayson Moore, who seldomly lose last year. Now, those 2 guys did struggle, though, Pat, in their debuts today, but you figure brighter days are ahead for those 2 in particular.
They did. I think they'll rebound. They'll be fine. I mean, the stuff is there. You saw it with both of those pitchers.